Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So, Sri Sad Goswami Astakam, verses 5 and 6. कूजत कोकिल हंस सारस गणा कीर्णे मयूराकुले कूजत कोकिल हंस सारस गणा कीर्णे मयूर नानारत्न निबद्ध मूल विटपा श्रीयुक्त वृंदावने राधा कृष्ण महर्निशं प्रभजतो जीवार्थ दोयो मुदा वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्री जीव गोपालको संख्या पूर्वक नाम गान नटि भी कालावसानी कृतो नेत्राहार विहार कादि विजितो चात्यंत दीनौ च यो राधा कृष्ण गुण स्मृतिर्मधुरिमा नंदेन सम्मोहितो वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्री जीव गोपालको वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्री जीव गोपालको Sri Goswami Prabhupada ki. Read the translation.
Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who were always engaged in worshipping Radha Krishna in the transcendental land of Vrindavana, where there are beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers, which have under their roots all valuable jewels. The Goswamis are perfectly competent to bestow upon the living entities the greatest boon of the goal of life.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who were engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered over eating and sleeping and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord.
Very relevant for our today's discussion because description of Vrindavan is being mentioned here. Beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers, and also the qualities of the Goswamis who live there, that is being described. So today we are going to enter Vaikuntha, description of the kingdom of Vaikuntha. If we have faith, we can enter by hearing. If we don't have faith, we can gain faith by hearing, then enter. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Supatantikam Vandeyaham Shri Guru Shri Tapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपात् तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् Welcome back for this Bhakti Vaibhav session. Today we'll read from Canto 3, Chapter 15, Description of the Kingdom of Vaikuntha. Before that, we will just revise what happened yesterday so that we have more clarity on why we are doing today. All my files are open now. They all got closed because of restart. So it will take a little time to get settled with me. Yeah. So this is the overview of the entire canto, but I'm going to chapter 14. Who taught the last time? Last 4 chapters? Last month? Oh, Madhav Balbhu. Madhav Balbhu is very amazing. Vedagopal. Gopal. Yeah. So yesterday we discussed about pregnancy of Diti in the evening. We saw how, after hearing the description about the appearance of Lord Varaha, Vidura becomes further inquisitive and he inquires about the appearance of the Lord and for what reason he killed Hiranyaksha. And Maitreya Muni congratulates Vidura and then he starts from the very beginning, the reason for Varahadeva's appearance. And he begins with the causeless agitation of Mother Diti. I mean, there's no cause for that. She just got agitated. And she was too highly agitated and she approaches Kashyap Muni, her husband, and she gives 6 reasons that she should be satisfied immediately. Lust is torturing me, I'm feeling envious of co-wives, your fame will spread, and as a girl also I've been attracted to you. I'm only one without the child. And a great person should not neglect somebody who approaches him in distress. Kashyap Muni in response glorifies Grahastha Ashram, glorifies the position of wife, and gives very logical reasons, saying that we are very safe. Grahastha Ashram is very safe because one thing, Grahastha Ashram is the origin for all 3 other ashramas. For brahmacharis are the children, they themselves become vanprasthas, and they serve the sannyasis also. And also, in Grahastha Ashram, the senses can be legitimately engaged. In the other 3 ashramas, if somebody gets agitated, especially by sex desire, and if he tries to fulfill it, that it becomes condemned. He becomes a fallen person. But in the Grahastha Ashram, if somebody feels agitated, then one has a wife. Of course, wife is also not a sex machine, but yet there's a license to engage in union for the purpose of begetting good children. So every pleasure has a price to pay. If you don't pay the price, then you don't get it. And if you don't want to pay the price but want to have that thing, then this mentality is the mentality of a thief or a rogue. And this is the mentality of everyone today. They want to enjoy, but not without responsibility. Along with any kind of enjoyment comes the responsibility for the consequences. So people engage in sex life, they have children. Earlier there were no contraceptives and all, people will engage in sex life and they will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 children, 12 children. Just 50 years back, not too many years back. Now people don't want children, but they want to have sex multiple times. So then they don't pay the price, but then the fine which the person puts on, or the fine which is put on the person, is higher than the legitimate price he has to pay. You agree? Like you're supposed to have this card by which you get through toll naka. But if you don't have that, then you don't have to pay the same amount. How much amount you have to pay? Double the amount you have to pay because you're supposed to have that card. Because when you're paying money, the others are getting delayed, right? If you don't have the fast track. So if you don't have fast track, then you must say, I will pay the money. No, you're paying the money will still delay the whole traffic. So that's why you have to pay double the money. Similarly, income tax. Somebody fills the income tax, he has to give the tax only. But somebody try to evade the income tax, then he's fined heavily. 4 times, 5 times heavily, like that. So modern civilization is to enjoy without taking responsibility, recreation without responsibility. That's very dangerous. So here, the recreation in the spiritual, in the Grasta life, but that is followed by great responsibility, a long-term responsibility. So union happens for a few minutes or few seconds of pleasure, but raising a child is a lifelong responsibility. It's not easy thing. But that is how Lord has made it, and people are happy because then also having a child, there are enjoyment, further enjoyment. There's different kind of enjoyment with the child. To take him in the lap, to kiss the child, to embrace the child. There's I mean, there's a lot of rasa in that. No? Otherwise, why will grastas go through the trouble of having children? And brahmachari get attracted to nice, cute-looking babies, children. So grasta, their hearts are tied up with that affection. And the broken language of the child is like so thrilling to them. It makes them forget the miseries of the material world. The father comes home after a day's hard work, and the child, comes crawling and speaks in the broken language, and that completely inundates the heart of the father with affection. He forget all the trouble he had throughout the day. so, so that's why periodically you get some enjoyment, and then again, same child, he grows up and then start doing his leelas, then teenage leela. Till Balya leela, Pawan leela, everything is okay. When Kashur Leela comes, then then the difference comes. And then they get in sometimes love affairs, sometimes they leave jobs, sometimes they're not settling in careers, sometimes they become brahmacharis, sometimes whatever, causing anxiety to parent. I met one boy, he did his integrated degree from Thiruvananthapuram, then he went to US for MS, and he got I have to become IFS now. All of a sudden, IFS is yeah, sorry, Indian Foreign Services. So he got a clue. And parents are saying, बेटा MS किया है, थोड़ा जॉब करके आओ, महीना 2 महीना जॉब करो. मेरे कहा मैं गए हो तो जॉब करके आ जाओ. So returned back now, he's not doing anything. I want to go to Delhi and prepare for IAS. And parents are worried and they're saying, क्या है इसका दिमाग है, यही करना था तो BA करके भी कर सकता था, इतना पढ़ाई में. Everyone has some anxiety or other. Children. Many things happen. I came to know a family where the girl has run away with a person of another caste, and the whole family is in anxiety. And educated girl, not just like that. But so things keep on happening in this world. Nothing is permanently. But yes, sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain. So Kashyap respond to Diti how Grastha ashram, Grastha life is safe. The other ashramas are not so safe because little deviation, little distraction will totally make the situation fall in for them. And then he says that I will satisfy you, but we wait because this is the period when Lord Shiva is roaming with his associate ghost and others. So please don't. And he glorifies Lord Shiva. Diti was very forceful. She got hold of Kashyapa's chadar, cloth, and then they had a union. And then Diti afterwards became very repentant, and she is approaching Kashyap Muni saying that my children should not be killed by. I mean, my embryo should not be destroyed by Lord Shiva. And she offered prayer to Lord Shiva also. And then Kashyap Muni tells that, beginning he tells that, you will get two sons who will be very naughty, not even notorious, terrorist. So you'll get them and they will create terror for women, terror for all the rishis, and terror for everyone on the planet. They will be killed by the Lord himself. But because you have repented, because you have surrendered to me, and you have surrendered to Lord Shiva, you have rectified your attitude. That's why your grandson will be a great devotee, Prahlad. And then he glorifies Prahlad Maharaj. So whenever there is a glorification of the Lord or the devotee, there will be very heartfelt glorification. All other things will be cut short in Bhagavatam. It comes to prayers and glorification, then abundance is there. In other scriptures, the storyline is very elaborate. And the prayers and all are just few lines. But in Bhagavatam, being Amal Purana, being Prema Bodha Mahan Prema being the goal, the prayers and the glorification is highlighted. Other things, Ajamila, he did sinful activity, that's all. Other Puranas, what he did, how he did, when he did, how many years he did, all the discussion we get. Then nothing. The essence is there. That. So Diti became satisfied about hearing that her sons will be killed by Lord himself and her grandson will be a devotee. And then, Diti became pregnant. And when Diti became pregnant with these two very powerful asuras, then she held them in the womb for 100 years. And darkness spread in all the directions, even before they came out of the womb. From within the womb only they made everything dark. How that happened is difficult to say, but it happened. So then Maitreya is saying that Devatas, they go to Brahma. And they glorify Brahma. From verse number 3 to 10, 3 to 8, they glorify Brahma. And 9 and 10, they ask what is happening. And then Brahmaji pacifies them, and then he tells about how these two sons enter the Diti's womb. So from 12 to 25 is a description of what is Vaikuntha planet and what happens in Vaikuntha. And who cannot enter Vaikuntha, who can enter Vaikuntha. Last two verses they talk about that. Who can enter Vaikuntha and who cannot enter Vaikuntha. After that, when the Vaikuntha description is over, very beautiful, very elaborate, glorious, Brahmaji is seeing all of this in trance. He knows what's happening. So then he talks about how the Kumaras, they are entering and they are stored by Jay and Vijay, and the Kumaras are cursing Jay and Vijay. These are 11 verses for interaction between Kumaras and Jay Vijay. And then there are 9 verses talking about arrival of the Lord, how he arrives hastily at the scene and gives darshan to the 4 Kumaras. And lastly, the Kumaras offer their prayers to the Lord after seeing the Lord. They were entering to see the Lord, but Lord came out to see them. So they offer their prayers. Now in next chapter, the 2 doorkeepers being cursed by the sages, the interaction will be there between the Lord and the 4 Kumaras and Lord and the doorkeepers. And then in the final chapter, 17th chapter, the description of Hiranyaksha will be there. So this is a long chapter again with elaborate purport by Srila Prabhupada. We will try our best to do justice to the content. But as we were discussing that it's more about relishing and absorbing the content than intellectually analyzing or understanding alone. So both things are important. Intelligence also has to be used at the same time. One should also feel fortunate to hear such subject matter and, you know, um, meditate on the subject matter, that how wonderful it is that we have been so fortunate get an opportunity to hear all this. Prabhupada will also talk about this. Those who are interested, those who are interested in the topics of this world cannot really appreciate the topics of the other world. So our consciousness is dependent on what we hear and what we speak. That is why Shravanam Kirtanam is a repeated thing. Shravanam Kirtanam, here speak, here speak. And that only leads to purification of consciousness. And when we develop complete appreciation for the spiritual world and become completely absorbed in hearing about the spiritual world and the spiritual personalities, then actually we can experience it here itself. And finally we may get shifted there also. So it is not that spiritual world is a place alone. It's a place and it's a level of consciousness also. So we have to reach the level of consciousness here at this place. Then we will get transferred to that place also. So we will hear this. This is a very beautiful description by Brahmaji to the Devatas, because Devatas also have not seen the Vaikuntha. Devatas have experience of their own planets, which are also very luxurious and having crazy. Well, people don't write one message, one line, one line, one line, one line. So, so Devatas have experience of Swargaloka, Mahaloka, Tapaloka, other lokas, but the Vaikuntha is beyond that. And beyond Vaikuntha, eh, beyond Vaikuntha is Goloka. So whatever description we hear of Vaikuntha, much more than that is a description of Goloka, which our acharyas have given in their literatures. And Srila Sanatana Goswami, whose disappearance day is there tomorrow, class is by Srila Prabhupada. So on Sunday, if I get a chance, I'll speak about Sanatana Goswami Pad. So Srila Sanatana Goswami has written this wonderful literature called Shri Brihad Bhagavatamritam, in which he has divided into 2 sections. In one section, there is a search for the greatest devotee of the Lord, who has received the greatest amount of mercy. Whom does the Lord consider the greatest devotee, dearmost devotee? And then the search goes. It's a very dramatic writing. The search goes from a Brahmana in Prayag and to the king of South Indian king, and then to Indra and Brahma and Shiva and Prahlad and Hanuman, Pandavas, Dwarka, and finally to Vrindavan. And the description of Rath Yatra also comes in that. Jagannath's appearance is there in this pastime. So that's a search for the greatest devotee. And in that process, he analyzes what is the level of Indra, Brahma. So throughout Bhagavatam, it's like a thematic study. But Bhagavatam is like it's some kind of thematic study about who is the greatest devotee, comparative study of the devotees. And then in the second part, there's a search for the highest abode of the Supreme Lord. Which is the highest abode? So again, he takes us to different planets. It starts from Vrindavan, Govardhan, and then it goes to, Jagannath Puri, and then it goes to Swargaloka, and then it goes to Mahadloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. Then it goes in the layers, the 7 layers which are surrounding the universe. Each element has a layer, the 5 layers are there. And then finally it goes to Brahma Jyoti, then it goes to Vaikuntha. And beautiful description of Vaikuntha there, much more elaborate than what is here. But as I said, we don't have that much time. that So we'll stick to the syllabus, but just giving an idea that whenever you get time, you can read it. So he goes into elaborate description of Vaikuntha, Aankho Dekha Hal. And Gop Kumar is there and wondering. Every time he sees a Vaikunthavasi, he pays obeisance. He thinks he's Lord Narayan. He has 4 hands and shining body. He says, no, I'm not Narayan. Don't pay obeisances to me. Narayan is there. He's coming. Any plane comes, he bows down because he thinks this is Narayan's plane. Finally, he meets Narayan and he becomes so impressed. He becomes so attracted. He wants to run and embrace Lord Narayan. He says, no, that's not allowed here. Everybody from a distance, Hath jodo, Om Namo Narayana. You can't go and embrace. He's like feeling that joy. And, Narayana personally meets him and says, there are a lot of rules and regulation here. The discipline is different here. So, you go to, no, not Goloka yet. Go to Ayodhya, Saket. So he goes to Saket. Narad Muni is there throughout, in the material and the spiritual realm both. And then he goes to Saket, and there he sees Lord Ram and Hanuman and everyone. So after Saket, he goes to Dwarka. And in Dwarka, Uddhava tells him, that planet which you see there, far off, shining planet, that is Vrindavan. We can have only darshan of Vrindavan from here. We can't even go there, enter Vrindavan. So even Dwarka is far from Vrindavan. And then finally he enters Vrindavan. And then there's a video being shot. My first day in Vrindavan. The entire one day of Gopkumar in Vrindavan is described. What happens in the morning, what happens in the breakfast time, cow herding, evening, Ras Leela, everything. One day in Vrindavan. And 2 Leelas are specifically described. One is about Kalia Daman Leela. Another is Akrura taking Krishna to Mathura. Very sweet, amazingly sweet. And it's all about Sambandhigyan, so they know how Sambandhigyan. After I read Bhagavatamritam, personally my understanding and faith got much deeper. Because otherwise all the time it looks like this material world appears so realistic and so uh, sensible that we have properties, we have legal paper, we have power of attorneys, and we have will, we have bank account, deposits. So it looks very realistic and there is some substance to it. Is it all useless nonsense thing? But after hearing Brahad Bhagavatamrita, one thing is the intelligence becomes satisfied as, yeah, these devotees, these places are all there, there's such description. But also the faith get deeper. This is the place where you want to go. That's why Acharyas have written. Because Sambandhigyan is nothing but it's faith and a strong desire to be there. That's all. Faith that the spiritual world exists. Krishna loves us and we are eternal servants of Krishna. That faith is Sambandhigyan. To the degree we are convinced of it, to that degree our Abhidheya will be very enthusiastic, very strong also. And after Abhidheya, Sambandha only turns into Prayojana. We know it, but now we experience it, we realize it. So enthusiasm for the practice of Krishna consciousness is based on faith that spiritual life is all wonderful and material life is all doomed, ultimately. So that is why the description of the kingdom of God is a very, very essential topic. And there's more elaborate description there. Also, there is elaborate description in Brahma Samhita in certain chapters, certain verses. We have only a section of the Brahma Samhita, not the entire Brahma Samhita. One chapter of Brahma Samhita. That too, in that Brahma Samhita book, the entire chapter is there. And what we recite, the Brahmaji's prayers, they are only a section of that, half of it. So there also, in certain section, description of Golok Vrindavan is being given, the beginning verses. So, Brahad Bhagavatamrita and Brahma Samhita, of course, Bhagavatam also. In the fifth canto, the description of the universe, and here there's a description of the spiritual world. But this description is not so much technical as much as it is devotion. What happens there? What is the consciousness of the people there, of the devotees there? That is being described, that is being highlighted here. So let's get there into this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Prajapatyam tu tatteja Paratejo Hanam Ditihi Dadara Varshani Satam Shankamana Surardhanat.
Sri Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, Diti, the wife of sage Kashyapa, could understand that the son within her womb would be a cause of disturbance to the demigods. As such, she continuously wooed the powerful Simon of Kashyapa Muni, which was meant to give trouble to others for 100 years."
So she was a saintly lady in her own capacity. She was the daughter of Daksha, wife of Kashyap Muni, very qualified in that sense. So she did not want to create trouble for demigods, so she bore the semen in the womb for 100 years. They could do that time, it's possible. Now it's not possible. so she was not happy that her sons will be cause of trouble. So no sane man or woman who can tolerate the non-devotees giving trouble to devotees. Diti therefore was reluctant to give birth to her baby. She waited for 100 years. Loke dena hata loke lokapala hatojasa navyedayan vishwasraje dvananta vyatikaram disham.
By the force of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon was impaired in all the planets, and the demigods of various planets, being disturbed by the force, asked the creator of the universe, Brahma, what is the expansion of darkness in all directions?
So Prabhupada here makes a point that sun is a source of light for all the planet. And we can see fifth canto if you have read it. There is only one sun, and the sun goes around actually. The sun goes on the chariot with one wheel, and there's a lot of description. In fact, one whole chapter is about sun. You know, how many spokes are there in the wheel, and what is there being recited. And we know that Hanumanji wanted to take initiation from sun god. He wanted. So he was with the chariot of sun god, and because he has no time, no? Sun can't take a break. Sun can't take a leave off. Only one time Aruni, the charioteer, took leave, not sun god. And that became, the cause of birth of both Bali and Sugriv. Right? Bali and Sugriv both came. Yeah, both came. So, Bali and Sugriv. So that's why that is a long story. What happens when any break happens in that? So Hanumanji was flying backwards. Sun god was coming. So there are many sages in the chariot, and a lot of katha goes on, a lot of discussion goes on, but chariot has to go on continuously to enlighten everything. And Prabhupada Maharaj was not satisfied with that. He said, why sun is there only 12 hours? So he created another his chariot. His chariot was also as shining as sun. And that's how he created Bhumandal and divided the Bhumandal into 7 islands. So it's interesting. But there's only one sun, not that there are, all the stars are not suns. As they say, they are nakshatras. There is one sun, one moon, and there are nakshatras. So Vedic version is more accurate as compared to the modern version of science. They say that every star is a sun, but every star is not a sun. Every star is a nakshatra, it's Tara, Tarangana. There is one sun and one moon, and the light of sun moon was made dim by the demonic influence of the demons right from the womb of Diti. So that was their power. From the womb they couldn't exert. I mean, nobody can do anything from the womb. It's so helpless. But the demons were so powerful. From the womb they could do that. So now Devatas, they are approaching Lord Brahma and they are glorifying Brahma, which will appear as if they are glorifying the Supreme Lord. Because Brahma is also Guna Avatar, so in that sense, non-different from the Supreme Lord. The Guna Avatar of that. Deva uchuhu tametaddugo vetam samvikram yad bhayam vrisham nahi avyaktam bhagvatah kalena sparsha vartmana.
The pursued demigod said, O great one, just see this darkness, which you know very well, and which is causing us anxieties, because the influence of time cannot touch you. There is nothing unmanifest before you.
Yeah. So here Brahma's address is Vibhu, or the personality of Godhead. So he is the incarnation of mode of passion. That's why he is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a representative. And the influence of time, past, present, and future, it does not touch the Brahma and other demigods. That's why they are called as Trikalagya. Lord Shiva is also called Trikalagya. Deva Deva Jagat Dhatur Lokanatha Sikhamane Paresham Aparesham Tvam Bhutanam Asibhavavit.
O God of demigods, sustainer of the universe, head jewels of all the demigods in other planets, you know the intentions of our living entity in both spiritual and material worlds.
Lokanath Sikhamane, you are the head jewel of the demigods, the first god. Paresham means those who are in the spiritual world, Aparesham in the material world. Twab Bhutanam Asi Bhavavit, you know their intentions, what they want to do and why they want to do. So this is an interesting thing to note. Whenever the subordinates will approach the superior or disciple would approach the spiritual master, there will always be glorification. Never you'll find, no, this is such an emergency. Darkness is there. They could have asked a SMS and said, Brahmaji, what happened? There's a lot of darkness. Like today, the light was going and coming, so I wrote a message to the electrical in charge. Why the inverter is not working? Check now why the inverter is there. Good quality inverter is there, batteries are there, but it's still not working. You saw, no? During Bhagavatam class, so many times light went off and all. So generally we ask why there's inverter not working. But the proper etiquette if one has to inquire from superior is to glorify first, then put the question. Like you saw in the case of appearance of Vaibhav also. First that the rishis offered prayers. Deva Uchu, Rishe Uchu, and then they request. When the Lord says, okay, now it's okay. What do you want? Then place the earth back and solve it. So similarly here, the demigods are approaching Brahmaji, who is superior to all of them. And as a matter of etiquette, out of heartfelt respect, they are glorifying Brahma, almost equating with the Supreme Lord as the Gunavatar. So Prabhupada says Brahma is almost on equal footing with the Supreme Person of Godhead, the God of the demigod because the secondary creator. He knows everyone's heart and everyone's intentions. Therefore, he was requested to explain the incident because demigod was sure that Brahmaji knows more than what we know. We may be powerful, but Brahmaji has a different vision. So similarly, we should know that whatever information we have at our level, the people at higher level will have a different vision. They see the top view. We can see from second floor, but somebody is at fourth floor, 10th floor. Somebody is flying in the plane, then they can see a bigger picture, bigger vision. So that is why one should inquire from those who are situated in a higher order. That inquiry is very important. So they requested to explain the incident why the pregnancy of Diti is causing such anxiety all over the universe. Namo Vijnana Viryaya Maya Yedam Upeyushu Grihita Guna Bhedaya Namaste Avyakta Yonaye.
The original source of strength and scientific knowledge, all our senses to into you. You have accepted the differentiated mode of passion from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With the help of external energy, you are born of a unmanifested source, all our senses into you.
So unmanifested sources, who? Sarvodakya Vishnu, unmanifested, not visible. From his navel the lotus comes. And then Brahmaji is born. Brahmaji is called Aja. He doesn't have a material father and material mother. He's born directly from the Lord himself. So that's why they're saying he is the incarnation of the mode of passion in material nature, the separated external energy of the Supreme Lord. So he is born directly from the transcendent body of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who is never seen by any creature of the material universe and therefore always remain unmanifested. ये तो अनन्येन भावेन भावयन्ति आत्मभावनाम् आत्मनि प्रोक्त भुवनम परम सदा आत्मकम.
O Lord, all these planets exist within you yourself, when all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe, and anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service.
So it is in the mood of considering the Gunavatar as, personality of the Godhead. So in Bhagavatam, such things do come. Hiranyakashipu also, when he offered prayers to Lord Brahma, he offers him in the mood of considering him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was, of course, mistaken. And when Brahmaji goes with all the demigods to pacify Lord Shiva after the Dakshayagya is destroyed, then Brahmaji with all other demigods, they also pray to Lord Shiva as if he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So because they are Gunavatar, sometimes they are treated as personalities of Godhead. Tesham supakva yoganam jitashvasendriyatmanam labdayushmat pradhadanam nakutashintat parabhavaha.
There is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process and who are therefore experienced, mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy.
So, the perfection of yoga is to have full control over mind and senses. The breathing process, the purpose is not to just become healthy, Anulom, Vilom, and what is that? Kapalabhati, and what is that? What is that called? Kapalabhati is there, but something, Vastrika. So they are all there, but the purpose is to control mind and senses through them. That's the purpose of the controlling the breathing process. Because only those who control mind and senses, for them, there's no defeat in the material world. Otherwise, everyone is defeated in the material world just by uncontrolled mind and senses. So, if one cannot control the mind and senses, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of the Supreme Lord. Any sloka from Bhagavad Gita? Where Krishna says, on one hand you control the senses, on the other hand you engage the mind in me, then you will get in full mercy. Second chapter. And before that. Huh? Before that, Kurmawala says. What? No, he says that restrain the senses and engage the mind in me. Sarvendriyani sanyamya yukta asrita matpara, right? Na? Yes, वैसे ही. That's a big group. That one? No. Actually, I'm forgetting that verse. My memory is not fully functioning. Somehow, little hangover is there. So, where he says that on one hand you restrain the senses, other hand you engage the mind in thinking of me, then with these two processes you'll attain my complete mercy. That's the translation. The verse I'll find out. Anyway, the sound now just makes me totally. As a good learning lesson, I've become more tolerant than I was in day one. So that's why I'm not changing the venue, because I'm getting to learn something and develop more patience and tolerance. Otherwise, it's difficult to teach in such situation. So, without control over mind and senses, one cannot attain the mercy of the Lord. This fact is repeated by Srila Prabhupada at hundreds of places. In his lectures, in his writings, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna repeats that. So this idea that I may have my loose mind and senses and still by doing some mystic thing, by reading some book, by chanting Radhe Radhe, by, rolling in the dust of Vrindavan, I just attain love for Krishna by bathing in Radha Kund. This doesn't work. That doesn't work the way we think it. That is why Srila Prabhupada constituted rules and regulation. Get up early in the morning, attend Mangal Arati, attend Guru Puja, chant your rounds, attend Bhagavatam class, render service, follow the regulative principles. No other organization talks about such policy, such, strict sadhana. There's a lot of relaxation there. Why? Because they're not getting anywhere. So if you have to get somewhere, then the discipline is the absolute must. So it's for our good. It's not that by marking attendance, manager gets some benefit. He gets some extra bonus for his service. Nothing. A poor fellow now, this new machine has come and nobody knows what's going in the machine. Nothing comes out. So we are trying to restart the attendance marking system. There at least I feel ashamed. 3 दिन से late हो रहा हूँ. उधर क्या face में पता नहीं चलता. I can personally, experience that it doesn't become very inspiring to stand in face. Anytime you say that there, or that the attendance register only gets closed and goes away, no? Then you know that it is gone now. Next day to see it. So by following the rigid discipline of spiritual life, nobody else gets the benefit. We are the beneficiary. Because that's the path. That's the path. Prabhupada would say, when devotees were there, and even Prabhupada time people went to Radha Kund to hear from Babaji and all. There are instances you can read in some of the books by Prabhupada disciples. So Prabhupada said these Babas, they are smoking bidis, associating with the widows, and they are talking of Radha Krishna Leela and Ras Leela and Radha Kund Leela. So he totally condemned them. And Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj says that these Babas, they have turned Radha Kund into Narak Kund, he said. He was very strong. And that's why when he went there, he spoke on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first verse. For 1 month, he spoke on one verse only. And in that verse, actually, if you read that verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes Raslila also. This is a verse for Raslila also. Bhagavatam is so perfect and complete. But the main thing is that one should be very enthusiastic, eager, and determined to follow the rules and regulations within the devotional process. Anukulena. Anukulena. Krishna Anusya, that is there. What is it? Accept the favorable thing. Anukulya sankalpa, pratikulya varjan. So one should be very eager for that. One should be firmly convinced that unless I control my mind and senses, I'm not going to get spiritual realizations. It is not that, I can keep on having loose mind, loose senses, and still Krishna will come and dance in front of me, or sometime in darshan, I'll have darshan in this, dream or something. These are all very fancy ideas. When we hear kathas, we may see that. And we don't read in Pune so much. Otherwise, many people read Bhaktamal kathas. Bhaktamal kathas, they're bona fide also. So these are kathas of very great devotees, but they did not follow any process. They were having natural spontaneous devotion in their heart. So sometimes when we read, we also feel, इतना तो मैं कर ही रहा हूँ, इतना साल तो कर ही लिया, अब तो सिद्धि आना बाकी है बस. Or sometimes when you go to Vrindavan, then we feel extra. See, you don't should. Vrindavan is a very powerful dham. But one should know that these rules and regulations are a part of the process of attaining the highest goal. They're not against it. Many so-called Babas, many so-called people of Vrindavan, they say, ISKCON मतलब वैदी है, तुम तो सब नियम में पड़े रहोगे, वैकुंठ चले जाओगे. Like that, there are a lot of people who say. These people are first-class nonsensical people. They don't know anything about what Prabhupada gave. Prabhupada has come from the spiritual world, carrying forward the mercy of the 6 Goswamis and giving us the highest thing what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give us. Gauravani Vicharan. But he knows the pathway, he knows the staircase by which any conditioned souls, if he walks on the path, one step at a time, that person can go back to Godhead. And there are a lot of proofs. This recent Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj came and he gave that book. Right? Some of you have that, read that? Path to Golok Vrindavan, a testimony. And we have so many testimonies. Parashurama's daughter herself, she was just a part of our community. She went very exalted personality. So step by step, from a karmi, hardcore karmi, a person can go one step at a time and reach back home, back to God. That is Prabhupada's mercy and power. He designed a process. While these people, they may be elevated, exalted also. They are not trying to offend them. They don't know how to help the person in general. They just say, hey, Radhe Radhe Bolo. And this conditioned. Right now, his mind and senses are totally uncontrolled. He can't practice bhajan. In a bhajan also, he will just think about women only. And that is why within Vrindavan also, there are no dearth of sense gratification. There are shopping malls and there are all kinds of shops and all kinds of things, all kinds of eatables. And people are rushing for them. There's so much traffic jam which is caused by all this. You know, when in front of Prem Bazaar, you will forget whether you are in Chowpatty of Mumbai or you are in Vrindavan. Same kind of thelawalas and pani puri and samosas and tikki and so many things goes on. So both things cannot go hand in hand. Prabhupada says, no? Sense gratification and Krishna consciousness goes well together. Another place is an easygoing life and advancement in Krishna consciousness goes well together. Another place is moist fuel and blazing fire. Moist fuel and blazing fire go well together. Once I made a list of what goes well together by searching in folios. So there are 10, 12 such things. So this should be very great inspiration for us, that controlling the mind and sense is a part of our practice of bhakti. And is always required because mind and senses are so powerful. Any moment they can trick. Bhagavatam gives that warning again and again and again. Rishabdev Maharaj gives that warning. And then Parikshit Maharaj asks the question, Sukadeva Goswami says, mind can never be trusted. It is like a mad elephant. It can destroy the thing anytime. It is like a wild animal, which when captured, the hunter has to be careful, otherwise it can kill the hunter if it is loose. It is like an unchaste lady who can allow her paramours to come and kill the husband. So much about mind being told. So this is actually possible. The actual control of mind and senses is possible by engaging in Krishna consciousness. So one should engage in Krishna consciousness in this way to get a higher taste, to control the mind and senses. And the devotees of the Lord are never defeated anywhere in the universe. And then he quote Narayana Param Sarve na Kutashona Bipati. Yasya vacha praja sarva gavastante yantrita haranti balim ayattas tasmai mukhyaya te namaha.
All the living entities within the universe are conducted by the Vedic directions, as a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. To the chief person who has contributed the Vedas, we offer our respect.
So it is said that one cannot break the rules even of the government or laws of the government. One can break oneself against the laws only. Even governmental laws, you see. What to say of these subtle laws which are laid in the Vedic literature. So conditions all who have come to this material world for material sense gratification are regulated by the injection of the Vedic literature. Sense gratification is just like salt. Too much, it spoils whole thing. Too little, then also it's not tasty. One should, just like one takes some salt in order to make one's food stuff palatable, conditions also have come to the material world should utilize their senses according to direction of Vedic literature. Otherwise, they will be put in a more miserable condition of life. Yuktahar viharasya, yukta karmasya, teshas. Yukta sapnasya bodhasya, dukkham bhavati yoga. Yoga bhavati dukkha, sorry. Yoga bhavati. So, in that purport, 5.1.14, it says that Yad vachi tantem, according to Vedic literature, one should try to find out whether it's a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. One should be educated accordingly. Then life is successful. So Vedic regulations there for different varnas, different ashramas, there are different regulations. But whichever varna ashram we are into, we should follow that. If you violate that law, then it is condemned. And it leads to suffering. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a very simple thing for a Vairagi and for a Grasta, there are different rules. He says for a Vairagi, even to think of touching a woman is a mental sin. On the other hand, a Grasta, sometimes they are going on bike, they have to go together, and other times also they may get touched. But for a Vairagi, that's a very sinful thing. So ashramas are different. So different things apply in different ways to different varnas and different ashramas. So whatever, now ashram is clear, we are in all in brahmacharya ashrams. Ashram things are clear. Varna within ashram as brahmachari, whatever we feel we can best do or whatever we are told to do, either thing is okay. One should follow those rules very diligently. Text 9. Pardon?
The demigod's prayer to Brahma, please look upon us mercifully, for we have fallen into a miserable condition because of the darkness. All our work has been suspended.
अंधेरा हो जाता है तो फिर क्या कुछ होता नहीं है तो he says that we are surrendering to you and tamasa lupta karmanam, because of the darkness, lupta karmanam, prescribed duties are suspended. We are not able to do anything. That's why you look at us mercifully and then you remove the darkness. एष देवादितिर्गर्भा ओझ कश्यपमार्पितं दिशस्तिमिर्यन् सर्वा वर्धते इवैधसि.
As fuel overloads a fire, so the embryo created by the semen of Kashyapa in the womb of Diti has caused complete darkness throughout the universe.
Yeah. The reason is they knew that Diti's womb is causing the darkness, but they don't know what is there within the womb that is causing the darkness. That's what they're saying, that Diti has caused complete darkness throughout the universe. मैत्रेय उवाच सप्रहस्य महाबाहो भगवान् शब्दगोचरः प्रत्याशस्ताम भूर्देवान् प्रीणम रुचिरया गिरा. पढ़ो.
Sri Maitreya said, thus Lord Brahma, who is understood by transcendental vibration, tried to satisfy the demigod, being pleased with their words of prayers.
So Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, oh, these ignorant people, they praise me, I'm useless to deliver them from this difficulty. He smiled just as an elder smiles at small children. And then he starts, please listen to an astonishing event that happened long ago related to this present calamity. So he replied, demigod. Brahma uvacha manasa me suta yusmat purvaja sanakadaya cherur vihaya lokala lokeshu vigatis praha.
Lord Brahma said, my four sons Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar, who were born from my mind, are your predecessors. Sometimes they travel throughout the material and spiritual skies without any definite desire.
So Prabhupada says, when he speaks of desire, we refer to desire of material sense gratification. These sages have no material desire, but they traveled on their own accord to preach devotional service. Preach devotional service, they traveled. Now this Tayekada Bhagavato Vaikuntasya Malatmanaha Yayur Vaikunta Nilayam Sarvaloka Namaskritam.
After thus traveling all over the universes, they also entered into spiritual sky, for they were freed from all material contamination. In the spiritual sky, there are spiritual planets known as Vaikunthas, which are the residents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his pure devotees, and are worshipped by the resident of all the material planets.
Sarvaloka Namaskritam. They are worshipped by the resident of all the material planet. And they were Amar Atmana, they were not having any mental contamination, because with mental contamination one cannot enter into spiritual sky. So Prabhupada describes the difference between Kunta and Vaikuntha. Kunta means where there is misery of birth, old age, disease and death, and Vaikuntha means where one has no fear of birth, old age, disease and death. And they are eternally happy in rendering service to the Lord. So now from 12 verses, Brahmaji will describe Vaikuntha Dham by his telescopic vision. He has seen Vaikuntha Dham, so he is describing Vaikuntha Dham in 12 verses to the demigods. So we will recite these verses together. Together means one by one, but they are very beautiful verses. Vasanti yatra purusha sarve vaikunta murtaya Ye nimitta nimittena dharmenardhayan harim.
In the Vaikuntha planets, all the residents are similar in form to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They all engage in devotional service to the Lord without desire for sense gratification.
So in Vaikuntha planet, everyone has Sarupya Mukti. Sarupya Mukti means they have form like Lord Narayan only. They also have four hands, they're also decorated, they also wear garland, everything. Only thing is that they know who is the Lord and they are devotees of the Lord. They look like Lord, Sarupya, they have similar form, but still they know Lord is different than, and Lord has costume money he wears, and then has Srivasa. There are some things which Lord only has, the other Vaikuntavasis don't have. But they have four hand. Also, they can change the form at will also. They have that siddhi. All the siddhis are there with all the people of Vaikuntha. So some devotees by their will to offer service in a particular way, they take the form of bird, they take the form of animal, they take the form of tree, just to facilitate Lord's service or to serve the Lord in that way. But everyone there is fully cognizant. Prabhupada will write that it is not that a tree in Vaikuntha is less cognizant than a human in Vaikuntha. No, they're all cognizant to the same degree. They're all fully Satchidanand. Just the different forms for the sake of exchanging affection with the Lord, exchanging rasa with the Lord. And in the Vaikuntha, they say it's like two and a half rasa is there. Shanta is there. There are living beings who in complete on their own, they are completely impressed by the opulence of the Lord and they have great reverence for that. They don't render service like trees, stones, but they have a little awe and a lot of awe and reverence for the Lord. So that is Shantaras is there. And Dasiras, there are many servants also. So that is a different kind of mukti. That is a Salokya is there, Sarupya is there, Saristri is same kind of opulence. Samipya means opportunity that they have some opportunity to render service to the Lord also. So Lord has servants, like his Gada is a personality. Gada is a personality. Kaumudi Gada he has. His Chakra, he is a personality. His Bal also is a personality. The Vedanta Deshika, great Acharya in Sri Sampradaya, Vedanta Deshika was incarnation of Bal of the Lord. Said. Bell, Ganti, Ganti. So like that, every Ayuda, what he has, is a personality. And then all other paraphernalia here, they're also personal. So they get a chance to serve. Dasiras is there. And then there is Swakiya Madhure. That means he's married to Bhudevi, Sri Devi, Lakshmi. And there's whatever in the household, Lakshmi Narayan dealings are there. Sweet dealings, no fight, no anger, cool. So that is there also. But Sakya Vasalya and Parakiya Madhurya is completely missing. So that is in Vaikuntha. So they're all 400 form. In metal world, we don't find any 400 form. 200 form is there. Yeah, everything there is animate. Nothing is inanimate. What? No, they become actually it's more described in the Brahad Bhagavatamrita. You'll find that what all they're doing, how they're talking about the Lord. They're glorifying the Lord. No, they can be paraphernalia also. They are in Dasiras, like Kaumudi is there, so it serves also. But then there can be other paraphernalia which is not very specified. Ki ye hai. But some names are specified, like Gada is Kaumudi, the bow is Saranga bow is there. So some things are mentioned. Sudarshan Chakra is definitely there. That. So everything is cognizant. Everything is such that nothing is inanimate, nothing is dead, everything is personal. How that is difficult to conceive. How you can eat something cognizant. You eat also, then how it remains, a few things. So somebody was telling that Rasgulla is a cognizant person there. So it goes on the tongue, it gives pleasure to the taste buds, tongue, and then comes out and becomes there. It's like somebody massage a person, no? You give him pleasure with massaging, and your personality is still there, not that you've got action. Right? So similarly, the rasgulla is there. It gives the taste and smell and everything, and then there is still existing. So, but still, it is inconceivable. The description is inconceivable with that.
Before you are discussing controlling the minds.
Yeah.
So in that Sense gratification is required like salt.
Salt.
So sometimes I mean we think within the
माइक बोलो, जूम पे जा रहा है. ठीक है.
within the boundary of dharma, sense gratification is allowed, but we see the example of advanced devotees and that we want. So sometimes we feel that means it is also sense gratification because we hear that body is required. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhana. Body maintenance. Sometimes we see that devotee takes some kind of dry foods or something like that. It is a sense gratification, but it is required for the body, but also sense gratification. But body is also need to be fit. So there is always
No, it's simple. Simple, not too complicated. Satisfying the senses is called sense gratification. Till the time one has body, one has to do sense gratification. The sense of satisfy the senses. Now the purpose of the sense gratification has to be clear. That is where it becomes legal or illegal. So body has to maintain, take prasad. Dry fruits have to be taken if doctors prescribe, take them. Not a problem because it's a prescription which has come. If the doctor is giving medicine, that medicine also we are taking, and doctor is telling you to take dry fruit, they will help in some ways, and that's also taking. We're not taking the mood of enjoyment, we are taking the mood of medicine. That. So senses will need gratification. With eyes we will see, with ears we will hear, with mouth we will eat. But the purpose has to change. Purpose for which we do that. Okay, we maintain the body in good health. For what? So that we can render devotional service. And we should actually do that. And even in the course of devotional service, sometimes we need to extend something, sacrifice something, some austerities are required. Do that. Ekadashis we fast and things like that. So purpose of our maintaining the body should change. Then everything is in place. Because Krishna says Yukta Ahar, he doesn't say no Ahar, he says Yukta Ahar. Take it as much as is required, sattvic food, offer to the Lord, the prasadam. Yukta Ahar Vihar, Yukta Saptasya, Bodhasya. He talks about eating, sleeping, recreation, but in the right quantity, regulated, and as prasadam of the Lord, and for the right purpose of serving them. Then it's okay. Every service has a particular result. The devotee never aspire for the fulfillment of their own desire. Their desires are fulfilled by rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. Yes, Vaishnava Thakur explained that. There are no personal motives, animitta, impelling them to worship. It is equivalent to what? Two qualities of devotional service? Ahetuki and apratihata. Ahetuki, there are no personal hetu over there. Devotional service, devotional bliss is inspiration which impels action of Nishkam Karma Yoga, pure devotional service, performed with one's best ability without personal motive. Now further he takes it. Yatra chadya pumanaste bhagavan shabda gocharaha sattam vishtabhya virajam swanam no madayan vrisha.
in the Vaikuntha planet is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original person and who can be understood through the Vedic literature. He is full of uncontaminated mode of goodness, with no place for passion or ignorance. He contributes religious progress for the devotees.
So first the description of the Adipati, the Supreme Lord is there. In the Vaikuntha planet, Vaikuntha because Supreme Personality of Godhead is staying there. Just like we call the temple as Radha Vrindavan Chandra Mandir. Radha Vrindavan Chandra Bhakt Samaj, because Radha Vrindavan Chandra is deciding. So everything is connected to him. And he says that he can be understood only through Vedic literature. So Prabhupada goes a long way in telling how the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky are beyond material reach. Modern scientists cannot go even to the nearest planet, what to say of the highest planet within the universe, and then what to say of going beyond material sky. Because this is beyond Brahmaloka also. Brahmaji is telling them within the material world, within the demigod planet. But he's talking of something which is beyond Brahmaloka. Even Brahmaji is not able to go. He can go in the local Vaikuntha Loka, Swetadeepa, local Vaikuntha. And there also he can't go to the planet. He can go only to the Kshirosagar. And there he sits, meditates, recites Purushukta, and the message comes. Sometimes Lord appears, sometimes he sends a WhatsApp message to be relayed to others, forwarded to others, like that. So that's how things happen. They can be understood, the spiritual world, the kingdom of God can be understood only through the authentic description of the Vedas and Puranas. Bhagavan Shabda Gocharaha. And then he talks about Vishuddha Sattva. Material world, there is goodness, but it is always tainted by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Anytime, any guna can take over. But in Vaikuntha planet, the pure mode of goodness, Vishuddha Sattva, exists. And Lord and the devotee exist there. Sattvam Vishtabhya Vrajam. Because Vaikuntha planets are very dear to the Vaishnavas, and for the progressive march of the Vaishnava towards the kingdom of God, the Lord himself helps his devotees.
Brahmaji goes to Shirsagar and prays, it said that. And also we hear that Brahmaji plays a role in Leela, Krishna Leela, comes in Krishna Leela, demigods comes in Krishna Leela. So they are not easily approachable there, but they can easily approach here. So what is
Who?
the means demigods participates in Leela, Krishna
Yeah,
Leela.
there they can.
So what is the
That is what the difference between Aprakat Leela and Prakat Leela. So Prakat Leela is for a very limited time. But in Prakat Leela, even the ordinary people who are there at that time were also born because of their good fortune. But they can also see the Lord directly. Aprakat Leela is manifested only to the devotees who are exalted. Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. In the Hridaya they see. But Prakat Leela, when it's called Prakat Leela, then it is seen to everyone at that time. So that's the good fortune they have. And demigods can see, but they get confused. And many times they are busy in their own world, they don't come to participate in the Leelas. So, Brahmaji will say actually, Brahmaji will say later that the people of this earth are more fortunate than we are. He will say that. Even though he's describing Vaikuntha, but describing Vaikuntha, he will say the people of Earth planet are more fortunate than us. Same thing will come in the 5th canto, Prayers by the Rasina of Jambudvipa also, where he says that we are, if we get a chance, we would like to take birth in Bharat Varsha. Short life, fruitful life, 80-100 years, go back to Godhead. Airport is here only. Prabhupada lectures there, no? In 50 years, if one chant, one can go back to Godhead. There's a clipping like that. You can see on Vanipedia. Prabhupada says, how much time it takes? Says, it takes 1 second. Says, it's a matter of desire. But usually he says that, okay, one gives his one lifetime, 50 years, one chant, one can go. So, now Sridhar Swami is giving the link. Brahmaji is describing in 4 verses the forest of Vaikuntha, 16, 17, 18, 9. The forest name and the conscious Kalvriksha trees. And then 17, the devotees absorbed in singing the glories of the Lord. And then the sweet singing birds, they respect the honeybee. And non-envious fragrant flower trees respect Tulasi. So the basic mood of Vaikuntha is, it's a place free from envy. That's the basic guideline. It's free from envy. There's no role for envy there. And Prabhupada writes there in 7th canto, 5th chapter, one of the verses, he says, Vaikuntha atmosphere, if you type, you will get it, Vaikuntha atmosphere. He says, when a devotee appreciates others' service without being envious, and they desire to serve better to the Lord in their own capacity, that is Vaikuntha atmosphere. Everyone is appreciative of everyone else's service without becoming jealous, envy, or competing with them. But they want to improve their own service by deriving inspiration from them. Not out of jealousy, but out of inspiration, they want to do better because he's doing better. This is the mood of Vaikuntha, mood of Goloka. When one cowherd boy is running, desire that everyone runs to touch Krishna and let everyone else touch Krishna before me. But it will show as if I am running to touch Krishna first. But the desire is that everyone else should reach and touch Krishna first. So even the apparent spirit of competition is to give pleasure to Krishna and is to bring other devotees in forefront. All the gopis, they are trying to bring Radharani in forefront because they know Radharani knows how to please Krishna the best. But Radharani's endeavor is to sometimes put Lalita Sakhi on the Jhula, sometimes put Vishaka Sakhi, sometimes put others, only for the sake of pleasing Krishna. They appreciate each other. There's no role of criticism, blasphemy, finding fault in the spiritual realm. So the more we go away from these qualities, the more we can actually experience Vaikuntha consciousness in our own hearts. And that is why the symptom of an exalted devotee is shown to be Anyaninda Adi Shunyam. Such a devotee should be served. Such devotee association should be sought. So there's no role for prajalpa, criticism, blasphemy, finding fault. All these things are not there because these things are symptoms of envy in the heart. Envy is there. This manifests in the form of these things. Freedom from envy gives rise to great appreciation for everything around us. And while being in the material world, even if we see some shortcoming, this is to be seen in the with the vision of a doctor trying to cure the patient. But we have to first decide whether I am the doctor or not. We can't be self-appointed doctors curing people all around. Right? Doctors are bona fide, they're empowered and they are given the certificate and the license to open a clinic. Not that everyone can become a doctor and say that I'm curing others. No. So that's a very, very important consciousness. So now this forest of Vaikuntha is being described here. यत्र नैश्रेयसं नाम वनं कामो दुदुहेद्रुमे सर्वर्तुषिभिर्विव्रजात् कैवल्यम् इव मूर्तिमात्.
In those Vaikuntha planets, there are many forests which are very auspicious. In those forests, the trees are desired trees, and in all seasons they are filled with flowers and fruits because everything in the Vaikuntha planets is spiritual and personal.
Yeah. And land, tree, fruit, flower, everything is completely spiritual and personal. There's no difference between tree, animal, man. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada explains that here the tree is different than the man. Tree is more covered. It's an ignorance actually. The soul is covered by that body. Not fully conscious. So if you tell a man that please bring me apple, he'll bring apple because he's a man. He can go to fridge and bring apple. If you tell bring me a mango, he can get a mango also. He's a person. But tree cannot do that because tree is covered by mode of ignorance. But there, the trees are also fully cognizant. And that is why they're kalpavriksha. They're conscious. So you ask a tree, you give me this, he gives because he's a person. He's not a, dull, standing at one place, that kind of tree. He's a personality. And that is why they are kalpavriksha. They can supply the demands of anyone who desires anything from them because they're fully cognizant living beings. In one lecture, he explained like that. The word murtimat indicates that everything has a spiritual form. Formless as conceived by impersonal is refuted in this verse. So he says here, Vashanjagara Thakur, Kavalyam eva murtimat means that all of the trees are nitya siddha, filled with bliss without any interruption. Birds are all atmaramas. So nitya siddha become trees, atmaramas become birds without any material desire. And Jiva Goswami says the forest produces the very form of the happiness, pure bhakti, Kavalyam, since it is full of all wealth, Shuddha bhakti. So the details are now described, and the coolness as well as beauty is hinted at by their entering the water. So now what do the Vaikuntha-vasis do? That is being described here. Vaimanika salalanas charitani saswad gayanti yatra samal shanpanani bharto antarjale anuviksham madhumadhavinam gandena khandita dhiyo api anilam shipantah.
In the Vaikuntha planets, the inhabitants fly in their airplanes, accompanied by their wives and consorts, and eternally sing of the character and activities of the Lord, which are always devoid of all inauspicious qualities. While singing the glories of the Lord, they deride even the presence of the blossoming Madhavi flowers, which are fragrant and laden with honey.
So the main quality of Vaikuntha is that everyone is just absorbed in remembering and glorifying the Lord. That's the main quality. In what all situation, how do they do? How do they cooperate? That is all described here. So everyone fly in their airplanes. They have wives and consorts. They have families. But although they may be smelling Madhavi flowers, which are fragrant, laden with honey, but they don't get distracted in their absorption to glorify the Lord. So that's why they sing the glories of the Lord even with their wife and in their plane and all the wonderful atmosphere is there, but it is all glorious because they are absorbed in that. In the material world, facilities, comforts, luxuries, they tend to distract a person from absorption in bhajan. That is more or less the situation here. Because the mind becomes attached to that. Mind goes after comfort and forgets about bhajan. You know the famous stories that told when Baba got a malpua and is doing a chanting and is thinking that after chanting I'll eat malpua. Because mind is now getting distracted. Because malpua has come. Remembering the taste of malpua. So he takes that malpua and puts that into whatever kundi you're sitting nearby, and then you can chant now. So in this metal world, the luxuries, comfort, facilities, they tend to distract, and that is why we should minimize them, because they can become a source of distraction if you're not highly spiritualized. Pure personalities, they may have internet, they may have camera, they may have all of the things, but they can rightly use them in service of the Lord. For us, it may become a very heavy distraction. But in the people in the spiritual world, they're completely purified. There are two qualities of people in Shantarasa. They're described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Rupa Siksha. One is they're completely freed from the desire for sense gratification. They don't have any desire for sense gratification. Anya vilashata shunyam. And second thing is that they're always prepared to do something to please the Lord. And this is Shantarasa. Then Dasyarasa, the mood of service gets added. They want to do active service. And then in Sakya, they consider him as equal. They want to give pleasure by being with them. That friendliness. In Vatsalya, there's a kind of possessiveness. There's a kind of, mother can chastise also. Friends cannot chastise. They can play. Concern is there. And then in the Madhurya, all these things are added. And along with that, the gopis, they dedicate their bodies to the service of the Lord, which nobody gives. Mother will take care of the child. Mother will not give her body to the child. Mother thinks herself superior to the child. But gopis, they have all the four rasas, and additionally, they are ready to give their bodies also to Krishna for his enjoyment. That is why the Madhurya rasa is considered the highest. So, in this rasa, we will find in the Vaikuntha that there is no desire for sense gratification. Although the facilities, luxuries are all around, but mind is still absorbed in glorifying Krishna. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha are so interested in glorifying the Lord, they do not like the disturbance of such a nice breeze while chanting the Lord's glories. They consider glorification of the Lord more important than their own sense gratification. And why? Serving the Lord in transcendental love yields such transcendental pleasure that in comparison, sense gratification is counted as insignificant. And Vishnu Thakur says their attention fixed only on describing the Lord may be disturbed by the fragrance of blossoming madhi flowers, but they continue to sing. They do not give up singing. They revile the wind. Oh, cool, gentle, murmuring breeze filled with the fragrance of madhi flower. Why do you try to divert the attention of our mind absorbed in the sweetness of Lord pastime? Do you think you are sweeter than those pastime? How foolish you are. So, because the previous word described the trees as being the personification of Kaivalya, there is a suggestion that through the fragrance of the flower is the personification of impersonal Brahman. The bliss of worshipping the Lord is superior to bliss of Brahman. There's a comparison of Vishnu Thakur. That smell, no? Because they're Atma Ramas and Nitya Siddhas. So that fragrance is like Brahma Saukyam. But that Brahma Saukyam is superseded by Bhakti, by the act of serving the Lord through glorifying Him. So, like the devotee riding on airplane, the birds also are great devotees with pure Bhakti. That is being described here. Paravatanya Bratasaras Chakravaka Dhatu Yahams Sukati Tari Barinamya Kolahalo Viramate Chiramatra Muche Prangadipe Harikatham Ivagayamane.
When the king of the bees hum in a high pitch, singing the glories of the Lord, there is a temporary lull in the noise of the pigeon, the cuckoo, the crane, the chakravak, the swan, the parrot, the partridge, and the peacock. Such transcendental birds stop their own singing simply to hear the glories of the Lord.
Yeah. They are also glorifying the Lord, but the nature of a devotee to feel that others are better than him. That's the Hamanina Manadara principle. So there's no difference between the bird and human resident. Everyone is spiritual variegated. Trees, flowers, plants. In the mental world, even an ass enjoys the sound vibration, but in the Vaikuntha, such nice bird as the peacock, the chakravak, and the cuckoo prefer to hear the vibration of the glories of the Lord from the bees. The principles of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting, are very prominent in the Vaikuntha world. So, Vaishnav Thakur says more graphically, oh, there is a glorification of the Lord. Let us be silent and listen. What's it? The king of bees qualified to sit on the garland of the Lord is humming Hari Hari, caused by the sound of his vibrating wings. This is equal to glorification of the Lord. I don't know how much more respect the birds show for the bee if we directly glorify the Lord. They feel that bees, they are sitting on the garland of the Lord. So he's humming Hari Hari, they are listening to that. And when the bees start speaking, then what to say of that? Like the birds, the trees also are great test devotee devoid of envy and hatred. Even the plant have consciousness. They praise the Lord. It's affectionate parakya mode. So now there's a description of the plants, flower plant. Mandara kunda kurabot pal champakarna punnaga naga bakulambuja parijata gandherchite tulasika bharanena tasya yasmim tapassu manaso bahumanayanti.
All the flowering plants like the mandar, kunda, kurbak, utpal, champak, arna, punag, nag, nagakeshar, bakul, lily, and parijata are full of transcendental fragrance. They are still conscious of the austerities performed by Tulsi. For Tulsi is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulsi leaves.
So Prabhupada they say about the importance of Tulsi. Everyone should water Tulsi every day, and then he talks about the Swami. He says, why Tulsi? Why not Bangan? Tulsi doesn't give anything, Bangan at least we can eat. And Prabhupada said, these foolish creatures unacquainted with devotional service play havoc with the education of people in general because it requires faith to understand spiritual wisdom. That's why that verse comes, no? That Arche Shila Dhiya Vishnu Guror Narmati Vaishnavar Jati Buddhi. So there's 6 things are told. Arche Shila, that considering Shalingram Shiva to be an ordinary stone. Now, if one does not have the eye of devotion, one does not Shastric knowledge, then he will say, this is stone only. What is this? Govardhan pearl. They pick up one stone, they can pick from anywhere. They're worshipping the stone, offering such bhoga to Govardhan. For us, he's Govardhan. For them, he's a stone only. Right? Before we were trained, we were also not aware that every Shila of Govardhan is Giriraj only, and we worship and we offer bhoga and we offer Abhishek and everything. Arche Sila Dhiya Vishnu Guru Narmati. Guru is like a normal person. Sometimes he also falls sick, sometimes you take care of him, sometimes so many things. Human kind of things are there. So considering Guru to be ordinary, Arche Sila Dhiya Vishnu Guru Narmati Vaishnavir Jati Buddhi. To think of Vaishnava, oh, he's educated, he's uneducated, he's qualified, he's unqualified, that kind of Jati Buddhi in Vaishnavas, and to consider the Sharanamrit or Ganges water to be ordinary. That's also involved. And to consider the holy name as ordinary sound vibration. There are 6 things this verse says further. So this transformation is actual indication of Shraddha. When we have faith, because this is a matter of faith, no? By ordinary eyes, it's actually stone. It is actually ordinary person, I mean 2 hands, 2 legs. But we have to look through the eyes of faith, Shraddha, what Shastras say about them, and not through what our mundane vision is inspiring us to say. So these people, when they talk, oh, logic, this deity cannot save his own laddu, and what is the use of deity? It's a stone only, it's not deity. So they expect the deity to do everything for itself. Actually, Lord appears in the deity form to give a chance to the devotees to serve. A devotee's responsibility to see that there are no rats to take the laddus, not the deities have to protect their laddus themselves. So these kind of foolish logicians, they create havoc in the life of people because they don't allow people to develop faith. They put logic higher than faith. They say, no, just see. If you see, you believe in it. You don't see God, don't believe in it. So they create havoc in the life of people. And Prabhupada, the most important thing about the spiritual world is there no envy among the devotees there. Vishnu Thakur says, when they smell the fragrance of Tulsi, when the Lord performed pastime in the forest with Tulsi ornament, therefore respect to Tulsi for our studies to achieve that position. They are not envious, they are not saying, Bhagavan, हमारा क्यों नहीं है? आज तुलसी लगाया, कल को परिजात फ्लावर लगाएंगे, उसके बाद लोटस फ्लावर, लोटस पेटल लगाएंगे, उसके बाद झंडू का पेटल लगाएंगे, हर दिन एक एक पेटल भगवान के लोटस फीट पे चंदन से लगाएंगे. हर दिन तुलसी क्यों? They don't think like that. They are not envious. They don't want to usurp the position of anyone else. They just want to appreciate the position somebody attained. And they say, oh, you are so fortunate. If we know what Ashrishi did, then we would also go to land of Bharat and do the same. Even the inhabitants of Vaikuntha desire to take birth in Vaikuntha. Bharat is superior to Vaikuntha. Bharatvarsh ki jai ho. Bharat, now we are really Bharat, we are India. The tree respects Tulsi and do not envy her because she has a pure heart. So manasaha. And respect means to appreciate the inherent goodness and superiority of another person. This is respect. We should respect everything has something given by the Supreme Lord to him. that quality of Supreme Lord given should be appreciated. Now, the beauty of surrounding garden described, now he describes the beauty of city in the center. Yes, Sankulam Haripad Padanati Matra Drishte Vaidurya Marakata Hema Mayer Vimana Yesham Brata Kari Tata Smita Sobi Mukhya Krishnatmanam Naraja Adadhar Samayade.
The inhabitants of Vaikuntha travel in their airplanes made of lapis lazuli, emerald, and gold. Although crowded by their consorts, who have large hips and beautiful smiling faces, they cannot be stimulated to passion by their mirth and beautiful charms.
So here in the material world, to attain opulence, one has to work hard, and to maintain the opulence, also one has to work hard. And if one is unfortunate, he will lose it also. If not, that is not a destiny. But in Vaikuntha, the opportunity to enjoy transcendental situation, jewels and emerald is with everyone. They are achieved not by working hard, but by the benediction of the Lord. So then the beauty of women in Vaikuntha is being described, because women's beauty means three things: her face and breast and hips. That's how it is. Wherever you find in Bhagavatam, these are the things which are focused. She has a sweet nose and eyes like this, and she has breast like the jugs of water, like Puruchiti described. Why Bhagavatam described that? Because Bhagavatam want to prove that the sages who are describing, they know all of it, and still they know that Krishna's beauty is far superior to that. Beauty is described in many places. Urvashi's beauty is described, Puruchiti's beauty is described. So many beauties are described there. But the same Bhagavatam describes more elaborately the beauty of the Supreme Lord. Like yesterday we were saying Yasyananam, or Barhapidam Natvar Vapu Karnayo Karnikaram. So the beauty of the women is much, much more better than what is there on the heavenly planet, and heavenly beauty is better than what is there on this planet. But even all this beauty does not distract people from glorifying the Lord. The men are so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that the beautiful bodies of the women cannot attract them. There's enjoyment of the association of opposite sex, but there's no sexual relationship. There's association. Women is there, but then they are doing Krishna Katha only. They are doing Hari Katha. There is no sexual relationship. The resident of Vaikuntha have a better standard of pleasure, so there is no need of sex pleasure. Vishnu Thakur says that Vaikuntha is filled with airplanes made of gold, obtained simply by surrender to Lord's feet, by bhakti, not by jnana or karma. And there is no room for the bliss of Brahman, as previously mentioned. Beautiful women cannot disturb the devotees fixed on the Lord. They act as uddipans for their bhakti, since they are also the highest devotees. And Vishnu Thakur says it goes without saying that everyone in Vaikuntha is blissful in serving the Lord. Even Lakshmi is engaged in serving there. Lakshmi's service is being described in 2 verses. Shrirupini Kwanayati Charanarvindam Leelambujena Harisadmani Mukta Dosha Samlakshate Sfatika Kude Upeta Hemni Sammarjati Vasadyana Grahane Anyatra.
In the Vaikuntha, planets are as beautiful as the goddess of fortune herself. Such transcendently beautiful ladies, their hands playing with lotuses and their leg bangles tinkling, are sometimes seen sweeping the marble walls, which are bedecked at intervals with golden borders, in order to receive the grace of the Supreme Personality of God.
Very interesting. Prabhupada gives a beautiful purport that all the ladies are as beautiful as goddess of fortune, but they are the wives of Vaikuntha Vasi, the other resident of Vaikuntha. They also look like Lakshmi, just like the men look like Narayan. And their hand playing with lotuses, their leg bangle tinkling. They sweep the marble walls, some marjati iva, appearing like a sweeper. Why? Yat anugrahe, to receive her. No, this is about Mother Lakshmi. That people in this world, they try to attain the favor of Mother Lakshmi, but in Vaikuntha, Mother Lakshmi is sweeping, giving up her fault. What is the fault? Prabhupada explained that is the fault is she is called Chanchala. Chanchala means she doesn't stay at one place. But in Vaikuntha, not only she stays in Vaikuntha at one place, but she also does service so that she can attract the attention of the Supreme Lord. Same Lakshmi, for whose attention people in this world are doing everything. So that is how it's being explained. So the fault of being Chanchala is not existing in the spiritual world. But here, She's Chanchala, and if she's not treated properly, she can create havoc also. And the example of Ravana is being given. Even the goddess of fortune needs the grace of Lord in order to be happy. Yet in the material world, in Brahma, the highest created being seeks the favor of Lakshmi for happiness. So he says, reflected on the polished walls, she seems to be cleaning with a broom, though she actually holds a lotus in her extended hand. So this is what Shajak Thakur is saying. Or she appears to be a maid servant who does the cleaning, but she is without fault. She sometimes seems to be the sweeper rather than the consort of the Lord, since he considers her devotion to be extremely meager. Then how Lakshmi Devi does Archana of the Lord, that is being described here in this verse. Vapi suvitrum tatasu amalamritapsu preshayanuta nijavane tulasibhir isham abhyarchati svalakam unnasam ikshavaktram uchcheshtitam bhagavateti amata gayashri.
The goddess of fortune worship the Lord in their own gardens by offering tulsi leaves on the coral paved banks of transcendental reservoirs of water. While offering worship to the Lord, they can see on the water the reflection of their beautiful faces with raised noses, and it appears that they have become more beautiful because of Lord's kissing on their faces.
So they do Archanam of the Lord on the coral paved banks of transcendental reservoir of water. So generally a woman is kissed by her husband, her face becomes more beautiful. So goddess of fortune, naturally as beautiful as can be imagined, but she awaits kissing of the Lord to make her face more beautiful. So by meditation, the Lord appears, and by seeing her reflection, it appears that she is being kissed by combining with his form, like that. And then next text 23 and 24 are there to say uh, who are unqualified to go to Vaikuntha. And then in 25, who is qualified to go to Vaikuntha is being described. But we will take 10-minute break now. 12:40 we'll meet, and then in another hour we'll complete the remaining section. Or shall I complete this section? What time is the lunch there? If we take a break there, no? I was waiting for them to make a lot of noise, and I thought we'll break there. So they have a time, no? If they are in break and we are in study, 1:10 is a break for them. They're no. Oh, that is different break. These children also have break. No, first they cry, then we cry. But I'm learning lesson. I'm really humbled by my lack of absorption in Krishna Katha. I just get too distracted with that. Okay, Himayan Prabhu. Break time, chant Gayatri, take some water, then we'll meet. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Nimanand Bro, is sound coming?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Audible.
Sound is coming, bro?
Yes, Prabhu. Audible, Prabhu.
Okay.
Video not coming.
Okay, so continue our discussion on description of the kingdom of God, the Vaikuntha planet. So Brahmaji is describing this description to Devatas who have approached him for finding out why Aditi's womb is actually creating such darkness in the universe. The moon and the sun, they are covered over. So Brahmaji, to begin, is saying that how these four Kumaras on their own, Vigata Spriha, they're free from desire, they're just moving here and there. They just happen to come across the Vaikuntha planet. And then what they saw is being described. And the resident of the Vaikuntha are described. They're in 400 form. They're very beautiful. The ladies are very beautiful. Man and woman are together, but they're all absorbed in glorifying the Lord. The flower, the varieties of flowers are there, trying to please the Lord, but they're all appreciating Tulsi for her service to the Lord. Different birds are there. They're all singing the glories of the Lord, but they're especially attentive to glorify the bumblebee because she gets the fortune of sitting on the garland of the Lord. And then the plains are described. The plains are there, which are roaming all over. So like that, the beauty of Vaikuntha is described, and also the eagerness of Mother Lakshmi herself is being described also. She appears to be sweeping the walls of the palaces, and she offers that tulasi, and Lord appears in meditation, and when she sees the reflection, it appears like Lord is kissing her, like that appears. So, having described this, now Brahmaji says, who are the people who are unqualified to go to Vaikuntha? Before he speaks who is qualified, he tells who are unqualified. So he is Vyatireka, his negative affirmation is giving. So text 23. Yanna vrajanti agabhido rachananuvada शृण्वन्ति ये अन्य विषया कुकथा मतिग्नि यास्तु श्रुता हत भगे निर्भीरात् सारास् ताम संक्षिपन्ति असरणेषु तमसु हन्ता.
It is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss the description of the Vaikuntha planets, but engage in topics which are unworthy to hear and which bewilders one's intelligence. Those who give up the topics of Vaikuntha and take to talk of the material world are thrown into the darkest regions of ignorance.
Shipanti, they are thrown. Asaraneshu, they are not sheltered. Tamasu, in the darkest part. Hanta, oh, how lamentable it is. So here in these purports, here this purport and the further purport, Prabhupada talks a lot about impersonalist mentality because they feel that Brahmajyoti is all in all. And here it is established that the planets are there in the Brahmajyoti, and these planets are filled with people and trees and birds and all sorts of variegatedness. So because the impersonalists, they negate the variety, thinking that the variety is all material, they are condemned. So here also Prabhupada says the most unfortunate are impersonalists, who cannot understand the transcendental variegatedness of the spiritual world. And that's why they're afraid to talk of the beauty of the Vaikuntha planet because they think this is also material. This will also end with time. Material means that which ends with time. Spiritual means that is forever. Shashvat, forever, eternal. Such people think that the spiritual world is completely void or there's no variegatedness. So this mentality of thinking there is no variegatedness is called kukatha matigni, intelligence bewildered by unworthy words. So this philosophy of voidness, impersonal situation of the spiritual world are condemned here because they bewilder one's intelligence. So material world, they can see so much variety, which is the perverted reflection. Then how can there be no variety in the spiritual world? That one can transcend this material world does not imply that there is no transcendental variegatedness. So this is a very important thing. This personalism means variety, variegatedness, and acceptance of the variegatedness with appreciation. That is personalism. Any moment you feel ऐसा क्यों है, सब एक जैसा क्यों नहीं है, that means these are all impersonal thoughts which have come because we are all, I mean, unless you become proper devotees, that impersonal feature is always there. You know, sometimes it becomes too much, not too many kinds of devotees, too much variety. एक जैसा क्यों नहीं है? Why the people are creating trouble? Why he's asking for this, he's asking for that, and he's doing this, he's doing that. That problem, the difficulty to deal with the variegatedness is a sign of impersonal mindedness. There's something called philosophical Mayavad. Philosophical Mayavad means everything is one, Lord is not there. But there's called psychological Mayavad also. Psychological Mayavad comes in us when we want to make everything one. हर भक्त एक जैसा होना चाहिए, हर भक्त का लेक्चर एक जैसा होना चाहिए, हर एक का कीर्तन एक जैसा होना चाहिए, हर दिन का प्रसाद एक जैसा होना चाहिए. No, these are all part of variegatedness, variety. And our duty is to serve the variety. One thing is fixed. We are servants. How do we serve? That is variety. There is fixity, unity in diversity. Diversity is how do we serve, and unity is that we are to serve. We are servants. So, not able to handle or deal with variety is a great stumbling block in spiritual advancement on the path of personalism. Because in the spiritual world, there is unlimited variety. No two flowers are same. No two gopas are same. No two gopis are same. No two items in the menu are same. No two meals in a day are same. And no 2 days of menu. I mean, today and tomorrow menu is not same. Everything is unlimitedly variegated. Every day Krishna dresses differently, eat different food, sing different songs, play different games. Everything is endlessly variegated. Nothing is repeated. Even the same pastime is repeated, it's variety. Like Kaliya Lila happens, there's variety. Vaibhav says, forget it happened yesterday. They think it's happening for the first time because there's no past there. There's no past there. There's no effect of time factor. That's a very mysterious place, inconceivable place. So we have to learn to deal and live with variety in an appreciative way. Rather than focusing on the differences and criticizing, let us, appreciate, accept first. First accept the variety, then appreciate the variety, then celebrate the variety. How the ashram will look like if every brahmachari is same. Is it not? But what adds value, color to the ashram or anything beautiful is the variety. How will it look if there is only plain color garland for the Lord every day? Or bouquets, there is only one color flower. The difference actually adds the variety. The variety adds to the taste, joy. Variety is said to be mother of enjoyment even in material circle. Right? Nobody does same thing, wear the same dress or eat the same food, talk the same thing all the time, every day. So that's why Vaikuntha planet represent infinite variegatedness. Impersonalism, they aspire for Brahma Jyoti where there is no variety. So that is why Prabhupada is condemning that impersonalists are the most unfortunate. Here in Bhagavatam, in this words, the spiritual nature of the spiritual sky and Vaikunthas is being described. But instead of trying to understand the spiritual abode and the spiritual activities of the Lord, people are more interested in politics and economic development. They hold many convention meeting and discussion to solve the problems in the worldly situation where they can remain for only a few years. But they are not interested in understanding the spiritual situation of the Vaikuntha world. If they are at all fortunate, they become interested in going back home, back to Godhead. But unless they understand the spiritual world, they rot in this material world of darkness continuously. So because of faith, lack of faith in the spiritual variety, the material variety looks attractive. Either it looks attractive and then, or that is Bhakti Kami, for this material variety looks attractive. You want to enjoy everything. And the Jnani, Mukti Kami, he want to forget variety, he want to make it one. So till the time the Bhakti desires and Mukti desires are there in the heart, that Bhakti desires will not be taking good root in that. Bhakti, Mukti, these are called Pishachis because they're very deep rooted. And that's why it says Bhakti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, Sakale, Ashad. All our agitation, disturbance, difficulties because of Bhakti Kami, Mukti Kami, or Siddhi Kami. If you become Bhakti Kami, nothing. Krishna loves variety. Whatever I can offer, Krishna will accept. Patram Pushpam Phalam to him. Who can stop me from serving Krishna? Who can create impediment in my service to Krishna? Who can create any impediment in my advancement in Krishna? Nothing. But because of not having this knowledge, we are Bhakti Kami. So if we do something, somebody else tries to interfere, we become angry. Either we become angry or we say, "Main chhodta hu, Bhakti Kami." Or Mukti Kami, some problem comes, then you want to leave it. When difficulty comes, leave the place and leave the service, leave the temple, do something else. Siddhi Kami, you want to attain perfection is something for our own, own pride or whatever. So these Bhakti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kamnas are there in the heart. And that's what, these are called the weeds, Upashakha Jata. These are Upashakhas. Bhakti Kami, Mukti Kami, Siddhi Kami. Bhakti Kami, there's no problem. Bhakti is so simple. Anyone can do it, any time he can do it, any situation he can do it. Because based on inner desire to please Krishna. It is not about the means and the externals. Inner desire is there, and the means may be as per the situation. If there are more situations, wonderful. We can do kirtan with kartal, mridang kartal harmonium, better, no problem. Nobody can stop us from doing kirtan softly, loudly, or within the mind. Who can stop? Train we are traveling and people are sleeping. So it's not that we have to do Mangalarti with kartal and bumper and mridanga loudspeaker only. If you silently or softly chant Samsadhavanal prayers, is there anyone who is going to kill you? Right? So bhakti cannot be stopped in any situation. But we make it situation dependent because of our mukti and bhakti and siddhi kamnas. And these are all troublesome things. And because of bhakti, mukti and siddhi kamnas, this material world appears very important. What happens in the material world appears to be very important. What will happen, what will not happen. So as we were discussing, those who may be managing, they may have to worry about if war happens, what will we eat, what is the food and all. Not everyone. In general, we should have faith. Krishna will provide. Are the ants and the elephant and the tigers and the lions and snakes and birds, are they worrying about what the warfare? Are they worrying? Destroying food? No. Humans also will do that. It's our duty and responsibility as a service, we should do it. But at individual level, we should develop deep faith. We should not have, institutional faith. We should have constitutional faith, scriptural faith in our heart. Institution may be going through different phases, but our faith should be not just institution, it should be scriptural faith in the heart. The scripture says that Krishna protects his devotees. How will he protect? That he will decide. Even if we don't restore, somebody will send a truck of food grains to us. Right? What is the problem? So that kind of faith will not come unless we have this bhakti, mukti, siddhi, kamanas are there. And till then, the interest in the material world will not go. Material world will appear very interesting. YouTube news will appear very interesting. People spend hours in this lab, I don't know what they do. Then. When I go there, everyone's screen changes. I don't go there. But we have to really see. We have to really be convinced this material world is a useless place. Prabhupada says rotting in the material world. He uses the word rotting here times. So why this world appears to be so interesting to us? Why the things of this world, phenomena of this world catch our attention? Why do they make us in anxiety and worry? Brahmachari discussed so much about this conversion is happening, that is happening. So one time the devotee asked question, 5 minutes he asked Radhanath Maharaj, this is happening, that is happening, this is happening. What should we do? Maharaj simply said one line, you should preach Krishna consciousness more vigorously. Next question, that's all. What can you do? Practice. And I had a long talk with Chaitanya Prabhu and he gave a formula. Practice sincerely, preach vigorously, that's all. That's all what you can do even after you say, Itana Konvardhan ho raha hai, love jihad and Christian, this, that, and what are you going to do? प्रसाद टाइम पे तो हम लोग प्रसाद लेने जाते हैं कहाँ हमारा इंटेंसिटी किधर है practice sincerely preach vigorously that's all you do sincere practice if Lord is pleased with us then he'll empower us to do wonderful thing and preach vigorously whomsoever we meet, and we try to preach. So many people are coming to temple. If all of them become devotees, how much the world will get transformed, correct? Now Prabhuji has started a mission, so many people are, every week they're getting connected to classes and courses and darshan, and I will give them prasad also. So much. We should feel that. They are coming to our home. We go out and people are not interested. They are coming to our place. You know how many people come? Almost not less than 25,000 people in a week. I'm going on the conservative side. 1 lakh in a month. 15 lakh in a year. If 15 lakh people take to Krishna consciousness to some degree, how fast Pune will get changed anyway? In Kharga temple, they say 1 lakh people come every weekend. So Krishna is sending. But we have time for discussion. We don't have time to meet people and preach to them. That's our irony. So we should know the material world is good for nothing. It's only good for one thing, to get out of it. That's all. That conviction should be there. And with that conviction, we should give up that bhakti kamna, mukti kamna, siddhi kamna, and have bhakti kamna, knowing that bhakti can be done. Ahetukiya pratiyata. Nothing can stop bhakti. We're not dependent on anything with that. So this is Sumati. Otherwise, this is Kukatha. What is that verse used? Kukatha Matikni. Kukatha Matikni. Because of bad propaganda, because of watching all these videos and hearing from so many people who are agitating and giving the lectures and all. Kukatha Matikni. The intelligence get bewildered because of Kukatha. So we should not hear Kukatha, we should hear Sukatha. So Prabhupada says one should be captivated by this information in 15.6. Natat bhasyate surya na shashango na pavaka. Prabhupada says one should be captivated by this information. So he should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached to the material world, it's very difficult to cut that attachment, but if it takes to Krishna consciousness, there is a chance of gradually becoming detached. And then further he says, those of human birth are qualified to go to Vaikuntha and not the Devatas. But those humans whose intelligence is misled by scripture devoted bhakti are cheated. They are lamentable. Yes, Prabhu. Mike, does आवाज नहीं आएगा ना. I think they have a break 12:45 to 1 or something. Tomorrow we'll take that break. We can have a parallel break.
Just in a flow of discussion, one question come in my mind that you said there should be variety. So I thought just we may accept varieties. Sometime this sabji, that sabji, Karela sabji. But sometime no salt or excessive salt we cannot eat only.
Right.
So that variety is very difficult.
Good thing.
So sometimes so how to deal with these situations?
If there is lack of salt, then you can add some salt, no problem. That's easier. If there's too much salt, then either we can add a little sugar or we can add a little water to neutralize it. So we can deal with variety, but if there's too extreme of variety which we are dealing with, then we should think how to best deal with it. Like there's sabji without salt, you add salt. Salt is there and 8 different kind of chutneys are there. That's easier. So find a devotee who is missing something, lacking something. We can add something on our side. We can give him enthusiasm. We can give him training. We can teach him, coach him. So that we can do. And if you find somebody who is spoiled in some way, then if that is becoming asas sangha, then we can remain away from him. We can remain away. It's not that we have to associate with everyone, but we have to respect everyone. Respect is for everyone because he is a creation of the Lord. Right? He also has some good thing. One lecture I was reading of Radhanath Maharaj was saying, if you cannot respect the most sinful terrorist, the most wildest of animal, like that, he's quoted some extreme thing. And then he said, then you cannot give respect and appreciation to anyone. So I think we tend to respect and appreciate people around us. He's saying that the real respect and appreciation is because of the connection to Krishna. Even if the person is the worst, he's still a servant of Krishna. Like today he was telling about Aurangzeb, later he was telling. That Aurangzeb also, although such a cruel person, he did so much nonsense everywhere in the world, in India. But that Aurangzeb also in Dauji, he has given 1200 acres of land in the name of Dauji temple. वो letter है, अभी भी है, उर्दू में अभी भी वो letter है, 1200 acres of land he has given to Dauji temple. So even he has some good thing in them. He did nonsense. So we should see the disease and the diseased, and hate the disease and love the diseased. And we can do it as per our capacity. We may not be the best person to deal with everyone, but we should not criticize. We should not blaspheme. That is not our duty. If we are doctor, we should cure him. If we are not doctor, we should just keep away from him. That's all. That is the way to deal with that.
That practice sincerely, preach vigorously. So sometimes it is maybe required that we don't need to preach vigorously as per situation. So what is means
Vigorous preaching is not only in terms of doing a lot of activity alone.
Okay.
Preaching vigorously is to have that intensity and train the people. This Prabhupada said, boil the milk. Doesn't mean to do too many activities only. That's also okay. But it means to train devotees. You have to see how many devotees in a month, in a year we are producing, we are coming to 16 rounds, we are going for initiation. And those who are getting initiated, are they fixed up in pure devotional service? In ISKCON, every year, hundreds of initiated devotees give a practice of Krishna consciousness. So is that vigorous preaching? Preaching is not only in terms of quantity and activity, preaching is also in terms of increasing the quality of consciousness. Are we getting fixed up? Is our faith increasing? Are we feeling this material world is a nonsensical place? Are we getting that conviction? Are we getting detached from family members, relatives, and our attachments, our possessions, our ideas, our own mind? So it's not just in a apparent way, not just a quantity wala thing. Quality also. Many people give up Krishna consciousness. Yesterday I was hearing something. Yeah, we had a session with Anuttam Prabhu. Anuttam Prabhu said that I was analyzing with one of my god brothers how many gurus were giving up Krishna consciousness. Those who were serving as guru at one time in ISKCON, many, before the sannyas ministry and guru ministry was formed, many, in proper times after the many were empowered. Many gurus gave up Krishna consciousness, they gave diksha to people, they heard the vows and they themselves gave up the vows. So Prabhu, preaching and practicing preaching both are not easy in long term. Quality things are not easy. You know, if you find one person is aspiring for pure devotion service, that association will uplift us. Because we get caught up into this bhakti, mukti, siddhi. We don't even realize that. The weeds overpower us. Where the Bhakti Lata Kripa gone, we don't know also. We take these weeds only as Bhakti Lata Kripa. So genuine taste for hearing about Krishna, doing Krishna Katha, genuine respect for Vaishnavas, genuine humility to accept that Krishna is so wonderful. I don't deserve to be here. Genuine, gratitude to Srila Prabhupada for his sacrifices. Would not have gone on Jalduta, what would have happened? Where we would have been? Genuine appreciation of all those devotees in response of sacrifice to give us what we have today. So these kind of emotions, feelings are not easy. Oftentimes the mind and heart is crowded with feeling of what I'm not getting, what others are doing, how I'm deprived, how I'm cheated, how I'm neglected. This I-centered is not easy. So the real substance of bhakti is a heart filled with emotions for Hari Guru and Vaishnavas, which is not so easy. The conditioned soul is oftentimes in a mood of lamentation only. क्या ये नहीं मिला वो नहीं मिला जो मिला है वो नहीं दिखता है. It doesn't count the blessing. It always focuses on what it is deprived of. Always. The mood. Anybody, I mean, as a manager, I deal with many people, and oftentimes it's just we deal with that kind of emotion more than somebody coming and saying it's so wonderful, festivals are happening nice. What is not wonderful, that only people come to tell. That's okay for us, that's a duty, we hear that. But it's not easy for a conditioned soul to experience the emotions of gratitude and humility. But that is real bhakti. Without humility, without gratitude, real bhakti is not there. All the achievement, accomplishment, they are there, they have their role, but they may not be real substance unless they are having a foundation of gratitude and humility. So it's a very essential thing. Similarly, preaching. Preaching means to inspire people on the path of pure devotional service. It's not just giving them mala, it's not just that giving them initiated, it's just to inspire that faith in their heart, plant the seed of faith. Bhakti Lata Bees, that pure Shraddha. Krishna is all in all, Krishna will protect me whatever happens. This lifetime I will serve Krishna only. I will do nothing else. So this Shraddha is not easy. It's not just by initiation one gets it. Initiation is a very nice platform to get it, but many times people miss it. Initiation is many times for getting a new name, for getting recognized in the Vaishnava society, for being identified as senior, many things around initiation also. For Brahman initiation, sometimes the process is so non-Brahmanical. People fight, people criticize, why this person, why not me? I'm more qualified like that. What Brahman initiation? The purpose of Brahman initiation defeated. The activities are totally non-Brahmanical sometimes. I'm chanting for 10 years, I deserve initiation. Where is begging? Where is gratitude that I don't deserve it? I'm still getting it. When you ask for it, where is gratitude? When you ask, we think we deserve it. So please understand, bhakti is a very subtle thing. It's a consciousness. And that we have to analyze for ourselves. And then if we are preaching, we are guiding it to analyze for others. Why these acharyas are writing? Prabhupada is writing in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. If by reading this Bhagavad Gita, one person becomes a pure devotee, will consider our, translating of Bhagavad Gita as successful. Why? We may see so many hundreds of disciples are there. No. One person becoming pure devotee, aspiring for pure devotion is a very rare thing. Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Maharaj is saying, I'm ready to take off all the marble from the walls of Gaudiya Math, sell it off, and to see that one person can truly understand the message. Prabhupada quotes from Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Maharaj only about one person like that. So please understand, it's very rare. And we may think we have got pure devotional service, we know it. We have to really analyze because it's not an easy thing. And even if we get it, we have to maintain it also. Because distractions are there, a lot of kind of associations are there around, so we may lose it also, we may get distracted also. So one should be captivated by this information. So much chapter we have read on the description of the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is writing on one verse, Natat bhashyate surya nashachangan pavaka yat gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. And he says one should be captivated. And here we have read the whole chapter because Bhagavatam is elaboration of the principles of Bhagavad Gita. So there it talks of that abode and here is describing that abode. So let's see text 24. Ye bhyavitatam apichano nirgatim prapanna jnanam cha tattvam saddharmam yatra naradanam bhagavato vitarantyamusya sammohita vitataya batamayayate.
Lord Brahma said, my dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance that we also desire to have such life. For in the human form, one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one in this human form of life does not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his abode, it is to be understood that he is very much affected by the influence of external nature.
See, Brahmaji is confirming. In the fifth canto, Deva Uchu, they are confirming. And we have it. We have something what Brahmaji and Devatas are aspiring for, right? We have come in the millennium, in the same millennium when Lord Krishna from Golok, Avatari Krishna has appeared, and after that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful, magnificent, munificent Lord has appeared. Mahavadanya Avatar has appeared, and after all that, Goswamis have come, Vishnachakri Thakur has come, Baldev Vidyabhushan has come, and our Bhaktivinoda Thakur has come, and then finally Srila Prabhupada came and gave us all in English language, otherwise you would not have been reading it so much. All of us don't know Sanskrit. How many of you know Sanskrit well? Then we are birds of same feather flock together. So they are aspiring for something. We should contemplate on this. Brahmaji is aspiring to take human form life in Bharatvarsha. In this millennium, when Mahaprabhu has just left, Prabhupada has just established ISKCON. So how fortunate are we? We should relish that good fortune and should care that we don't waste that good fortune. Brahmaji condemns very vehemently the condition of human being who does not take interest in the personal Godhead. The human form of life is desired even by Brahmaji. They have better material bodies than human bodies, yet nevertheless they desire to attain the human form of life because it is specifically meant for the living entity who can attain transcendental knowledge and religious perfection. Now here Prabhupada says, you right, see, purport. It is not possible to go back to Godhead in one life. But in the human form, one should at least understand the goal of life and begin Krishna consciousness. It is said that the human form is a great boon because it's the most suitable boat. You know that verse? Human life is like a boat, Guru is like the captain, and Vedas are like the favorable bridges. And one who does not begin Krishna consciousness in the human form life loses life to the influence of the illusory energy. So that is what Atmaha. Atmaha does not mean just suicide for metal body, but without taking to Krishna consciousness, it is actually committing suicide. It's a spiritual suicide. And those who want to go to Kavalya, that is also a kind of suicide because we are killing that natural instinct of the soul to serve and love Krishna. That instinct we are killing. Atmaha. That word is used, Atmaha, one who does not take joy in hearing and chanting the message of the Lord, Atmaha. And Narottam Das Thakur says that Manusya Janam Paiya Radha Krishna Namajanu Janiya Shuniya Vishakhain. Knowingly I am committing suicide, not unknowingly, not forcibly. In human form of life, we don't worship Radha Krishna, then it is equivalent to committing suicide. Or Vishnu Thakur says, they do not give the Lord his worship, they do not perform action for his pleasure, they are devotees in material desires. Now those who are qualified are described. Yacha vrajanti animesam rishabhanuvratya dure yamahi upari nasprani yashila bharturmitha suyashasha kathanuraga vaikalya bhaspakalaya pulaka kritanga.
Persons whose bodily features change in ecstasy and who breathe heavily and perspire due to hearing the glories of the Lord are promoted to the kingdom of God, even though they do not care for meditation and other austerities. The kingdom of God is above the material universes and it is desired by Brahma and other demigods.
So here, Srila Prabhupada had a long purport, describing many things, because it's about who's qualified to go back to Goloka. And his mission is to give us the qualification to go back to Vaikuntha or Goloka. So this is a mission verse. So that's why he's given a long purport for that. First he describes about the kingdom of God, where it is situated. And then he says, one can enter the kingdom of the Supreme Lord only when one is highly developed in desirable qualities. And all quality develop in the person of a devotee. So which verse will come when come to qualities? Yasya asti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarve gune satra samasate sura. That's the verse. Kuto mahat manorathena manaso dhavato. So this is a verse which will come naturally. He says 5, 18, 12. That's the verse. We said that anyone in Krishna consciousness is endowed with all good qualities. And then he says, Brahmaji confirm herewith that only person who develops the desirable qualities can enter the kingdom of God. And then he says 26 qualities are being described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know, Adi Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think 7th chapter, in relation to which devotee? You know, which devotee? I should know. But there's one Haridas. He is different than Bada Haridas or Chota Haridas. He is priest Haridas, yeah. He is the priest of Radha Govinda Dev. So in his connection, all these qualities are same. There's a verse which comes, which says, Na dekhiya dosh, kaya mane vakya kare, Vaishnava santosh. Vaishnavera gunagrahi na dekhiya dosh. What is it? Kaya manasa vacha kare, Vaishnava santosh. Something like that it says. So that is described about Haridas, the Pujari Haridas. And he was the one who told him to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it described in that connection. And then further he says, in 3rd canto, 25th chapter, verse 21. What is this? Yesterday we recited. 3:25-21. Titikshaya, Karunigya, Virda Sarva Dehina, Ajata Shatru Shantova, Sadhava Sadhu. This is the verse. Very tolerant, not partial. He's not a fool to kill one Narayan for another Narayan, Tarada Narayan. No. And that such a person gradually become liberated, enter the kingdom of God is confirmed Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, 5th chapter, verse 2. 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 24 also state that the person does not cry or exhibit bodily changes after chanting the holy name of God without offense. It is to be understood that he is hard-hearted and therefore his heart does not change even after he chants the holy name of God. Hare Krishna. So when these bodily changes come, when we are free from all the offenses, and then Prabhupada discusses about the 10 kind of offenses in detail. See, this is the Abhideya verse, which is describing the process and provision. So Prabhupada takes great labor to describe all of it. You can read it at your leisure time. It's a long verse. First verse. The first offense is to publicly declare to be wrong. Publicly declare. Decry means publicly. That's the meaning of decry. Person who try in their life to broadcast the glories of Lord. It is the greatest offense. So he write like that for all the 10 offenses. See, the 10th offense is to be attached to the misconception of possessing something, mamata, mameti, or to accept the body as one's self, without executing the process of spiritual cultivation. We say, no? And 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment. Even after understanding so instruction on this matter, but we recite it as a matter of ritual. We don't really evaluate whether on a regular basis we are getting, freed from material attachment and whether our faith is becoming complete. To not have complete faith, that's the offense. That. So he developed the ecstatic bodily feature called Pulaka Ashru. Pulaka means symptom of happiness and Ashru means tears in the eyes. So symptom of happiness and tears in the eyes must appear in a person who has chanted the holy name offenselessly. So if these symptoms are not there, that means it's still offensive. Gauranga bolite hobe Pulaka sharira. Hari Hari bolite Nayane bhavani. If that is not happening, Gauranga. So that means there are offenses. Hari Hari. And there are offenses. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said if one does not develop the symptom while chanting, it is to be understood that it is still offensive. And Chaitanya Charitamrita has a nice remedy in this connection. It is said in chapter 8 of Adi Leela that one should take shelter of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. That's why we chant Panchatattva mantra before Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Then we chant the holy name. Then we become freed from all offenses. Purana and other scripture one sometimes hear that there is a momentary appearance of demons in the spiritual world, but they should not be considered actual entrance into the spiritual world, since they lack realization of a spiritual happiness. So he gives the example of Bhragu and Kumara, Durvasa, that he brings his pure devotee to Vaikuntha through his associate on the airplane, and they reside eternally. And then he make them taste his sweet abode, sweet service, and sweet pastime. But some others, he gives the example of like momentary appearance of demons in the spiritual world, but that is not actual entrance. So he says that people like Bhragu and Kumaras and Durvasa, they may enter for the sake of pastime. They are not qualified to stay there. That is why Kumaras will go back from the door only. They will not stay there. They are not qualified. Bhragu Muni came and he kicked at the feet of the chest of the Lord for the sake of pastime. They went back. Durvasa Muni came and saw Lord and then he went back. But pure devotees who have cultivated that affection with the Lord, they are brought by the Lord and they stay there eternally, and then he has them taste his sweet abode, sweet service, and sweet pastimes. So this verse describes the Kumara's trip to Vaikuntha. Having described that yatra, 12 verses, Vaikuntha was described where they went, and now Kumaras are entering that. Question? Huh? Dure yam hi upare nahi. I don't know, it's copied using another devotee's notes. I'll tell you, ask that devotee. Basically, it means that Lord keeps those who are not qualified distant from him. He may sometimes interact, like Bhragu entered and kicked, Durvasa Muni entered, Kumaras entered. But they are not entitled to stay there and serve the Lord. And Lord doesn't reciprocate with them. For the sake of pastime, he brings them, for glorifying his devotee. So now next chapter, when you read tomorrow, you'll see the Kumaras will be confused. Lord is glorifying the Brahmanas or is speaking sarcastically. And at the end, they say, my dear Lord, we don't know whether you have glorified us or you have chastised us. We don't know. But whatever, we are happy that at least you spoke to us something. We don't know. The dual meaning, Lord will speak. On one hand, he will say, yeah, you are Brahmanas. But another level, he will be criticizing them for the wrong thing. Tad Vishwaguru Adhikritam Bhuvaneka Vandyam Devyam Vichitra Vivudarga Vimana Soche Aap Uparam Pete Yoga Maya Balena Munayas Tatatho Vikuntam.
Thus, the great sages Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, and Sanat Kumara, upon reaching the above mentioned Vaikuntha in the spiritual world by dint of their mystic yoga performance, perceived unprecedented happiness. They found that the spiritual sky was illuminated by highly decorated airplanes piloted by the best devotees of Vaikuntha and was predominated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
You see, all of us have excitement of flying, no? In the childhood, so you see the bird flying and you feel, wow, it's exciting. Flying, the sky is always a very mysterious thing. What lies beyond that? So I wonder. So whenever there's a talk about Vaikuntha, there's always talk about Vaikuntha airplanes. The planes made of gold and lapis lazuli and all, and they fly around because it's better than having a car caught up in traffic and dealing with that. Correct, huh? Because flying is very smooth. Car bumps are there, traffic jams are there, signals are there. So they're also the highlight of Vaikuntha. One of the highlight of Vaikuntha is the planes also. Whenever Vaikuntha takes the planes are there. So they're advanced. Now we are flying. We still go by train and bus, car. And if we fly also, there's so much of risk is there. We may fly over something and crash somewhere else, Can you imagine somebody studying MBBS, eating in mass, thinking himself to be safe, feeling that he will save many others, and all of a sudden the plane crash. Just unimaginable. Matter nature does things which have never happened previously. Everything is a unique creation in itself. So this is what the Kumaras observed. The planes are flying here and there, and Lord is described as Vishwaguru. The sages felt an unprecedented happiness because Vaikuntha was not predominated by an ordinary man. They were by Krishna's expansion like Madhusudan, Madhava, Narayana. It is said here that the sages reached the transcendent spiritual sky by dint of their mystic power. So then it talks about the 8 mystic siddhis. Perfection of the yoga system is to not travel through material space but can surpass material space and enter the spiritual life. And then he talks about Durvasa Muni also, how Durvasa Muni entered. Yoga Maya Balena Vikuntam. That Yoga Maya Balena Vikuntam, that happiness experience in the spiritual world is arising because of the influence of Yoga Maya, the internal potency. And also one travels by yoga system, not by mechanical means. Prabhupada says that, even if one travels at the speed of light, it will take 40,000 years to reach the highest planet of this mental world. What to say of other spiritual planets? But Kumaras were traveling by Yoga Balena, and they were experiencing the happiness of created by Yoga Maya. And here he explained that. They attained that place not by their own power, but upon receiving the power of Lord Shakti, by the desire of the Lord, by his Yoga Maya, so that they could experience the highest bliss by the Lord's mercy. Vishwaguru also indicated the Lord brought them to teach them Bhakti, and they experienced greater bliss than Brahmananda, because they were Brahmanandis, 4 Kumaras. But now Lord is giving them Bhakti-ananda. So millions of oceans of Brahmananda can fit in a fraction of a drop of bliss of Bhakti-ananda. That is a comparison given by Sharupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion. So they could not come, but Lord directed them. Lord brought them by his own power. They could experience the highest bliss by Lord's mercy. Lord, as Vishwaguru, wanted to teach them lesson. And this bliss they have not experienced earlier. Entrance into and experience of Vaikuntha are different. One is at the gate, and 2 things are different that will be described later also. Okay, read the translation. I will go a little fast.
After passing through the 6 entrances of Vaikuntha Puri, the Lord's residence, without feeling astonishment at all the decorations, they saw at the 7th gate 2 shining beings of the same age, armed with maces and adorned with most valuable jewelry, earrings, diamonds, helmets, garments, etc.
So when the 6 gates they passed, they did not see any decoration also. They were so enamored and they wanted to see the Lord of Vaikuntha. 7th door, they found 2 doormen of the same age because age was not clear. No? Everyone is eternal. So there's no age, not the one was elderly, one was young. They were eternally there. And they were decorated with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma like the Lord. So Bhagavatam tells that there are doorkeeper at all the gates. Chanda, Kumuda, and Bhadra, Subhadra, and last gate is Jai Vijay. So they are all the names are. So the palace is well decorated and protected. Somebody may ask, what is the need of protection? Even the Kumaras are wondering why these are there. Because somebody, you see, like at our gate, there is the main security. They will frisk and do that. Once you come inside, then it's not that at the entrance of temple there's again frisking. At the entrance of Balaji Hall again there's frisking and again that, that's the most funniest thing the security does. That metal detector will just do the perfect formality. Perfect example of Niyamagraha. Perfect example of doing a ritual without knowing what is he doing. उसको वो बस एक बार आगे एक बार पीछे करना है बस और कुछ नहीं. That's the funny thing the security does. But that has to be done. So once a person enters the premises, then he's there. In the airport also, once you get through the security check, then there's so much thing. Not that every gate there's something. But Lord has 7 gates. 7 security men. 14 security men are there. Why? Is there any fear? पहले गेट में अगर नहीं कवर कर पाए, नहीं कंट्रोल कर पाए तो आगे के गेट पे करेंगे. Why they are there? Huh? They are there to receive the guest. That is their service. To glorify the Lord when the Lord comes out and to see to the comforts of the Lord. That's all. Like when Jagannath was going, we have that holding the rope and so that people should not crowd in and all. It was not for protection, but it is for facilitation. It was for increasing the pleasure of the Lord. So next verse.
The 2 doormen were garlanded with fresh flowers which attracted intoxicated bees and which were placed around their necks and between their 4 blue arms. From their arched eyebrows, disconnected nostrils and reddish eyes, they appeared somewhat agitated.
Yeah. So they are like, Kutilaya Bruva. Kutilaya Bruva, the arch eyebrows. Sometimes they see, they angrily they see then the eyebrows get arched. Nirgam Mabhyam Rakta Ikshanena. So they were appearing like discontented nostrils, reddish eyes, they appear somewhat agitated. Why they were angry? Bhashan Thakur says, without asking the 2 gatekeepers who were watching, they are there, disrespecting them, they entered the 7th door. They didn't ask, can we get in? May I come in, sir? May I get in, sir? They didn't ask, they just walked in. And these doormen were there and they were thinking, we are the doormen, so anybody should go by asking us and, recognizing our existence. So this kind of thought came in their mind. Right. Next one.
The great sages, headed by Sanaka, had open doors everywhere. They had no idea of ours and theirs. With open minds, they entered the 7th door out of their own will, just as they had passed through the 6 other doors, which were made of gold and diamonds.
So Prabhupada describes that these are the oldest of sages. They are the eldest sons of Lord Brahma. In fact, when Brahma went to Dwarka and the gatekeeper asked him, oh, you're come? He said, yeah, I'm Brahma. So he went to Krishna and said, Brahma has come. Krishna asked, which Brahma? So the gatekeeper went well and asked, Lord is asking, which Brahma are you? Brahma, all the 4 sons started reeling. He thought he's the only Brahma. He's the only one with 4 heads. Which Brahma means what? So he identified himself. The Brahma who is the son, who is the father of 4 Kumaras. Brahma, F oblique O. Sometimes like S oblique O, son of, daughter of. Brahmaji wrote Brahma, father of 4 Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sadanand and Sanat Kumar. Like that he wrote. So these are the eldest sons. They are not at all deprecious. And they were child. And they kept themselves in the child form only. And just like the child, they just trespass. They don't bother for anything. Just trespass. And nobody checks him. In fact, child is welcome in the attempt to go to places. But if a child is checked from entering into it, naturally becomes very sorry and angry. He becomes angry. That's the nature of the child. In this case, same thing happened. Childlike saintly personalities entered all the 6 doors of the palace. No one checked them. But therefore, when they attempted to enter 7th door, they were forbidden. An ordinary child would cry, but because these were not ordinary children, they immediately made preparation to punish the doorman for the doorman had committed a great offense. Even to this day, a saintly person. अच्छा, लक्ष्य दिया. Advertising. चपाती भाजी आणि स्वीट आहे. अच्छा, भाजी आणि वरण आहे. वरण मतलब राईस. वरण मीन्स राईस. दाल. तो भाजी आहे, वरण आहे आणि भात आहे. चपाती नाही. An ordinary child would cry, but because these are not ordinary child, they immediately make preparation to punish the doorman. Even to this day, saintly person never checked from entering even door in India. So now they become angry. Read.
The four boy sages who had nothing to cover their bodies but at atmosphere, looking only 5 years old, even though they were the oldest of all living creatures and had realized the truth of the self. But when the porters who happened to possess a disposition quite unpalatable to the Lord, saw the sages, they blocked their way with their staffs, despising their glories, although the sages did not deserve such treatment at their hands.
Yeah. So they were sages, but they were in the form of child. So sometimes seeing is believing that is a problem. I mean, even if they come here, our security will also stop them. Imagine the four Kumaras appear here also in any ISKCON temple. Who will allow them? They will ask him, I vadil kudhe. They will ask, I vadil kudhe. Where is the mother, where is the father? But Jai Vijay, they are in Vaikuntha. So they were expected to not make discrimination. They were expected to know that these are great sages. So they are the senior most. They are Vidita Atma Tattvam, they know the Atma Tattva. And they, when they were stopped, then they felt that these guys, the Jain Vijay, they are having an attitude which is unpalatable to the Lord. Bhagavad Pratikula Shila. Their attitude is displeasing to the Lord. So, because Lord is always welcoming their devotee. Bhrigu was welcomed also. Everyone else was welcomed. So, four sages are the firstborn sons of Brahma. The Kumaras are older than all other living creatures. But such saints were not to be forbidden to enter the kingdom of Vaikuntha, but by chance the doorman objected to their entrance. This was not fitting. The Lord is always anxious to serve sages like the Kumaras, but in spite of knowing this fact, the doorman astonishingly and outrageously prohibited them from entering. Vishnu Thakur says, ignoring their greatness, the gatekeeper thought that the boys were proud because of their Brahma Gyan. So they thought they were proud because of Brahma Gyan. The gatekeeper thus showed natures unfavorable to the Lord. Bhagavad Pratikulya, nature which is not favorable to the Lord, who is affectionate to Brahmanas. Even the Lord's servant should not obstruct his friendliness to Brahmanas because they follow the qualities of the Lord's mind. So sometimes the servant and the master may have different moods. You see, sometimes some great soul comes and people are crowding and concerts and all are pushing, and then they stop and they say, wait, let them come. They will talk also something, pet the child also, they'll move. But those who are bodyguards, or those who are guarding for them, they are pushing and दूर रहो, पैर मत टच करो, बालक को पास नहीं आने का, फूल नहीं देने का, ये नहीं देने का. So becomes very difficult because they also have the good, they also want to protect, they also want to see that they are peaceful, they are able to walk, otherwise people are not allowed to walk. But then their mood is, these people are eager and these people are eager to Krishna consciousness, let me serve them and do something for that. So similarly, Lord was eager to meet the Brahmanas, but Jai Vijay wrongly thought that they are proud of the Brahmagyan, they should not be allowed. So they obstructed. Next.
When the Kumaras, although by far the fittest persons, were thus forbidden entrance by the two chief doorkeepers of Sri Hari, while other divinities looked on, Their eyes suddenly turned red because of anger due to their great eagerness to see their most beloved master Sri Hari, the personality of Godhead.
So they were expecting to meet, and then their eyes turned red. Kama Anuja. Because the desire was not fulfilled, but the desire was not material, it was spiritual desires. Kama Anuja, the anger came, Sahasa. And their eyes became agitated. Prabhupada says, sannyasi, a person in the renounced order of life, is dressed in saffron colored garb. This saffron dress is practically a passport for the mendicant. And sannyasi is to go anywhere. The sannyasi's duty is to enlighten people in Krishna consciousness. And according to Vedic sociological conception, sannyasi should not be restricted, allowed to go anywhere, everywhere he wants. And he is not refused any gift he might demand from a householder. Remember that? Vishwamitra asked for Ram and Lakshman. Ram he asked. And similarly, that Brahmana who came to meet Hadai Pandit, he asked for Nityananda. And then Hadai Pandit remembered Vishwamitra and Dashrath only. It's like that. The four Kumara came to see the personality of God as Narayan. The word Suhritama is important. As Krishna explained, he is the best friend of all living entities. No one can be a greater well-wishing friend to any living entity than the Supreme Personality Godhead. So, he's so kindly disposed toward everyone that in spite of completely forgetting our relationship with the Supreme Lord, he comes himself, sometimes personally, as Lord Krishna appeared on this earth, and sometimes as his devotee, as did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And sometimes he sent his bona fide devotee to reclaim the fallen souls. Therefore, he is the greatest well-wishing friend of everyone, and the Kumaras wanted to see him. The doorkeepers should have known, they should have that knowledge, that the four sages had no other business, and therefore to restrict them from entering the palace was not apt. And then he talks about the younger brother of desire, Kama Anuja. The anger follows if the desire is not fulfilled. And then he says, therefore, the theory that in perfectional stage one should not have anger is not supported in this verse. Anger will continue even in the liberated stage. The only difference is between the anger of an ordinary person and that of a liberated person is that ordinary person becomes angry because his sense desires are not being fulfilled, whereas the liberated person, like the Kumaras, become angry when restricted in the discharge of duties for serving the Supreme Personality of God. Anger is there. Man Leela is there, no? Man Leela is the highest Leela, so anger is there, that's how there is Man Leela. But the purpose is different. The purpose is to please the Lord. The root and the cause of that anger in the spiritual realm is service and pleasure of the Lord. But here the anger is more based on baffling of our desires for enjoyment. So Prabhupada spends a good time about that. Although the Kumaras were liberated person, they nevertheless became angry. This point is very important. Becoming liberated does not necessitate losing one's sensual activities. Sense activities continue even in the liberated stage. With eyes we see, with ears we hear, with tongue we taste, with legs we walk, with mouth we speak. All sensory activities continue, but they're all in connection with Krishna, where sense activities in conditioned stage are enacted for personal sense gratification. Jiva Goswami says in 3 verses, Kumaras criticized the judgmental powers of the doorkeeper, which should have been suitable to inhabitants of Vaikuntha who had Salukya, Samipya and other benefits, since they were tinged with anger and they were following their natures. Muneha uchuhu kovamihitya bhagavad paricharyoche तद्धर्मणे विशताम विषम स्वभाव तस्मिन् प्रशांत पुरुषे गत विग्रहे वा को वा त्वं कुह कयो परिशंकनीयः.
The sages said, who are these two persons who have developed such a discordant mentality even though they are posted in the service of the Lord in the highest position and are expected to have developed the same qualities as the Lord? Who are these two persons living in Vaikuntha? Where is the possibility of an enemy's coming into this kingdom of God? The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no enemy. Who could be envious of him? Probably these two persons are impostors, therefore they suspect others to be like themselves.
So, 4 Kumaras thought that these 2 people themselves are impostors. Atmavat Manyate Jagat. They are impostors, so that's why they are thinking that others are also envious of the Lord. They can harm. The Supreme Personality of God has no envy. Who could be envious of him? And what is the possibility of an enemy coming into the kingdom of God? Right? How he can enter only? So, but these two people somehow they are imposters and they themselves have a discordant mentality, and that is why we should rectify. That's how they thought. And Prabhupada talks about inhabitant of Vaikuntha planet, a metal planet, that everyone engages in the service of the Lord and they are all equipped with good qualities. And then he says, if a condition is liberated and become a devotee, about 79% of all the good qualities of the Lord develop in this person. How many qualities develop out of 64? 50. 50 is how much percentage? 79%, almost. Almost of that. Therefore, in the Vaikuntha world, there is no question of enmity between the Lord and the resident. So one is not allowed to enter Vaikuntha unless he has completely developed the good qualities. And the basic principle of goodness is to accept subordination to the supreme quality. So sages were therefore surprised to see that these two doormen are checking them from entering the palace. They are not exactly like the resident of Vaikuntha Loka. Now it may be said that a doorman's duty is to determine who should be allowed to enter the palace, who should not. But that is not relevant in this matter because no one is allowed to enter the Vaikuntha plant unless he develops 100% the mentality of devotion service to Supreme Lord. No enemy of the Lord can enter Vaikuntha Loka. The Kumaras concluded that the only reason for the doorman checking them was that the doormen themselves were impostors. Right? So that's why they are not able to identify who is fit to enter, who is not fit to enter, and they are stopping the right people to enter. Nahi antaram bhagavata samasta kuksha atmanam nabo navasi vadhira pashyanti yatra yuvayo surilinga noki vyutpaditam hridayarbhedi bhayam yatosya.
In the Vaikuntha world, there is complete harmony between the residents and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as there is complete harmony within space between the big and the small skies. Why then is there a seed of fear in this field of harmony? These two persons are dressed like inhabitants of Vaikuntha, but where from can their disharmony come into existence?
So in the Vaikuntha, the Lord and the devotees have complete harmony, like big sky, small sky. Now this example inspired Prabhupada to write a lot about impersonalism, Mayavad. Because they say, na, Gatakash, Patakash. That philosophy. So Prabhupada goes a long way to write a purport describing about Gatakash, Patakash, and everything on that. So everything is harmony. There's no fear in the field of harmony. These people are dressed like inhabitant of Vaikuntha, but where from does this disharmony had come into existence? Prabhupada also talks about this disharmony as the reason for the soul to come in the material world. What is that? Yesham tvantagatam papam janana karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dradvartam. That dvanda moha, that is disharmony comes. That the living entity becomes Ichha dvesh samutvena dvanda mohena bharata. So the Ichha and dvesh, this duality comes. Disharmony comes. So that also Prabhupada describes. These two things he describes in this. Civil department, criminal department. When there is a discrepancy in that harmony, the jiva does not surrender to the Lord, then immediately the living entity tried by Maya or Krishna. What is that words which says that? Japati adhare? Krishna boli say jiva, bhagavancha kare. So Krishna boli, bhagavancha kare. Nikatastha Maya tare? Japati. So entire kingdom of God is such a completely harmonious unit that there is no possibility of enmity. Everywhere thing is absolute. Just there are many physiological constructions within the body yet they can work in one order for the satisfaction of the stomach. Just as a machine, there are hundreds and thousands of parts, yet they run in harmony to fulfill the function of the machine. In the Vaikuntha plant, the Lord is perfect and the inhabitant also perfectly engaged in the service of the Lord. Then he talks about Maya, small sky and big sky. Their parts of the body are never equal to whole, and Mayavadi philosophy is being defeated. There is no cause for the politics of divine and rule in the Vaikuntha because there is no fear, because the united interest of the Lord and the residents. Sometimes they deny there is such a God, sometimes they say everything is void, sometimes they say there may be God but he has no form. Both these conceptions arise from the rebellious condition of the living entity. Harmony or disharmony is realized because of the law and order of a particular place. Religion is the law and order of the Supreme Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we find that religion means devotion, service, or Krishna consciousness. And then he talks about Sarva Dharman Parityaja. In the spiritual world, this religious principle of Krishna consciousness is maintained in harmony, and therefore that world is called Vaikuntha. If the same principles can be adopted here, wholly or partially, then it is also Vaikuntha. So it is within any society, such as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. If the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, putting faith in the Krishna as center, live in harmony according to the orders and principles of Bhagavad Gita, then they are living in Vaikuntha, not in this material world. Prabhupada gives a formula. Putting faith in Krishna as the center, and live in harmony according to the law and order given in Bhagavad Gita. Now, not being pacified by criticizing them, Kumaras cuts them out of great anger. So that's why he says that, let us think of something most beneficial for you two persons of low intelligence. Tadvamamusya paramasya vikunda bhartu kartum prakashtam yadhim nimada vidyabha loka nitavrjatam antarbhava drishtya papi yashastre me ripavoshayatra.
Therefore, let us consider how these two contaminated persons should be punished. The punishment should be apt, for thus benefit can eventually be bestowed upon them. Since they find duality in the existence of Vaikuntha life, they are contaminated and should be removed from this place to the material world, where the living entities have three kinds of enemies.
Prabhupada says, as long as living entity is pure, he is complete harmony. But as soon as he becomes impure, he is in disharmony with the desire of the Lord. And by contamination, he is forced to transfer to material world, where three enemies are there, namely desire, anger, and lust. Ichha, Kam, and Krodh. And these three enemies force the living entity to continue material existence. One should not therefore be angry in the absence of an opportunity for sense gratification, and one should not be lusty to acquire more than necessary. One should regulate them. People should learn Bhagavad Gita, accept the Supreme Lord as Lord of everything, and they should practice satisfying the senses of the Supreme Lord instead of trying to satisfy their own senses. Training in Krishna consciousness will help one to be promoted to Vaikuntha. Prabhupada used the word training many times. He doesn't leave it to spontaneity. Training means a systematic program of gradually rising on the path of bhakti, gradually making progress on the path of bhakti to attain the perfection. So, using this word also indicate that now lust, anger, greed represent having arisen in the Kumaras. Now there is a response of the Jaya Vijay. They understood they have committed the offense, and the Brahmanas were very angry. First they become afraid. Jiva Goswami says, by this it is understood that they were not previously aware of the Kumaras being Brahmanas. Teshamithritam udhare ghoram tam brahma dandam anivarnam astra poge sadyo hare anucharva urubhibhyatastat padagrahava patatam atikatarena.
When the doormen of Vaikuntha Loka, who were certainly devotees of the Lord, found that they were going to be cursed by the Brahmanas, they at once became very much afraid and fell down at the feet of the Brahmanas in great anxiety. For a Brahmana's curse cannot be counteracted by any kind of weapon.
So we hear that today also, that how the Vaishnavas they cursed Hiranyakashipu. That's how Hiranyakashipu was killed. So Brahmana's curse, yesterday also we were discussing how Diti is saying that my sons not die because of Brahmana's curse. So by chance the doorman committed a mistake by thanking the Brahmanas for entering the gate, but they were at once aware of the gravity of the curse. Greatest offense is to offend a devotee, because the doormen were also devotees of the Lord. They were able to understand their mistake and were terrified when the four Kumaras were ready to curse them. So they say, Bhuyadagoni bhagavadir akari dando yona hareta surahelanam api ashesham Mavom apakalaya bhagavatis pratigno moho bhavedihatuno vrajator adoda.
After being cursed by the sages, the doorman said, "It is quite apt that you have punished us for neglecting to respect sages like you. But we pray that due to your compassion at our repentance, the illusion of forgetting the Supreme Personality of Godhead will not come upon us as we go progressively downward."
Yeah. The doorman accepted that it's good that you're punishing us, but they prayed that because we are repenting, the illusion of forgetting the Supreme Lord should not come upon us. Prabhupada said, to a devotee, any heavy punishment is tolerable, but the one which affects forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord. The doormen also were devotees, they could understand the punishment meted out to them, for they were conscious of the great offense they had committed. So in the lower species, forgetfulness is very prominent. Doormen were aware that they were going to the criminal department of the material world, and they expected that they might go to the lowest species and forget the Supreme Lord. They prayed that they should not forget the Lord. And now the Lord comes to know of the chaos happening, and then he appears. Evam tadev bhagwan arvind nabh swaram vibudya sat atikramam adehirde tasmin yayo paramahamsa mahamuni nam anveshaniya charano chalayan sahasri.
At that very moment, the Lord, who is called Padmanabha because of the lotus grown from his navel, and who is the delight of the righteous, learned about the insult offered by his own servants to the saints. Accompanied by his spouse, the goddess of fortune, he went to the spot on those very feet sought by recluses and great sages.
He came walking, he did not wait for any weapon, vehicle or anything. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, devotees cannot be vanquished at any time. The Lord could understand that the quarrel between the doorman and sages was taking a different turn. Therefore, instantly came out of his palace and went to the spot to stop further aggravation so that his devotee might not be vanquished for good. So, the Lord, lover of Brahmanas and affectionate to his devotee, then appeared there. Why? To prove that Bhakti attacks the Lord, that Bhakti shines and makes others shine. And by making the Kumaras and the doorkeepers bathe themselves in a water drop from an ocean of inner humility arising from committing offenses to each other, because they both have to experience humility and then only the offenses will be mitigated. By purifying them of their fault and making them realizing the meaning of devotee and Brahmana. The 5 verses will discuss the unlimited sweetness of the Lord Rupa Madhuri, which is experienced by the Kumaras tomorrow. With the Lord has just come, tomorrow we'll receive him, tomorrow we'll complete. Well, these 2 chapters are well interlinked, so there's no problem. Today and tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll complete this part of thing. Okay, so today we will stop here. I have to go and meet Shirup Charan Prabhu is here, leaving in few minutes. Okay? Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.